I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call of Aldermen.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Here.
Holt. Schmidt. Rudgewitz.
Here.
Randall.
Here.
Anthony.
Here.
Davidson.
Here.
Silsby. Hayden. Seibert. White.
Here.
Galletti.
Here.
Musgrove.
Here.
Orland. Schneider.
Here. Okay, I know that here comes Alderman Seibert. I know that Alderman Hayden is here, and Alderman Silsby and Schmidt are excused. Roll call of department heads.
Police Chief Clay.
Here.
Fire Chief Langston.
Here.
City Attorney Garrett Horner.
Here.
Ken Vaughn. Royce Carlisle.
Here.
Jamie Matrit.
Here.
Tim Gregowitz.
He's here.
Jim Schneider.
Here.
Leander Spearman.
Here.
Emily Fultz.
Here.
Chuck Schaefer. Bob Sabo.
Here.
And Debbie Belleville.
Chuck Schaefer and Ken Vaughn are excused and on vacation. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask all that are able to please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome. Quite a crowd. I think I realize why a pretty good number of you are here. So we're going to get straight to. Well, just one second. First of all, I'm going to back up. We've been adopting recently, and it'll get to be more and more in all the committee meetings. I just got to get the word stabilized. We've been working on our disaster plan. The police chief and the fire chief and their employees have been helping me greatly get our disaster plans for all of our buildings. We've been working on them for some time. If we would, heaven forbid, have to leave this building for fire purposes, we'd ask everyone to leave calmly and to exit across the street, watching Washington Street, but meet in front of the courthouse sign so that we could make sure we had a head count of everybody best we could figure. It's kind of hard in these public building meetings because we don't have an exact sign-in. Or if we had a severe storm that ever came up, certainly get away from the windows, but there is basement access to here. Yes, you can go by elevator until that wouldn't, until a storm may knock it out. But we have emergency generators here, so elevator in this building should be fine regardless. But we do have a big storm shelter in the basement. So I just tell you those things. And we have new signs posted throughout this building, and all the buildings are going up as we speak the last few days to give you kind of that sense of you are here, here's how you get to where you need to go. So please share that as time goes on, because we want to continue to be more prepared for our citizens and for our staff. Tonight it brings me great pleasure. A couple weeks ago, I received a phone call from a young lady here in the room and said that her father was asked to go on an honor flight. And I know her father, and she stated to me that she was just extremely excited about this opportunity for he and other veterans to go to Washington, D.C. to visit the various memorials, the World War II Memorial. As you know, there's a Korean Vet Memorial, and some other really memorable experiences. She asked me to write a letter for him because they were going to have mail call on the way home. I said I would be happy to. Then she said, I know it's a lot, but if there's any chance, we're trying to get people to go to Lambert to meet and greet these heroes. So I told her if I could work out and didn't have a meeting that night, I would go. And as the time got closer, my schedule actually got freed up. And Alderman Anthony, who's a veteran, he and I went over. And we weren't sure what we were getting to, but what we were kind of going to witness. But the longer we were there, the more this miraculous evening unfolded. So, and as we were there was two other Belleville participants that, well, I found out about Mr. Holtz in the morning paper, but the third gentleman I didn't find out about until I was standing there talking to his daughter and said, my dad's from Belleville too. So we have three of them to give some recognition to tonight. And the other part of this, after I call them up in just a second, I think Lou's going to tell you a little bit. There's a great opportunity for all of us who have family, friends, neighbors who are eligible for this World War II honor flight, and it can be Korean War veterans also now they're starting to take. I just can't tell you how impressive it was and how deserving it is for these veterans after all these years. And after the one story we heard, Mr. Miller, who's the one that they contacted me about, when he came home after World War II, he didn't come home to a hero's welcome like he got at Lambert a couple weeks ago. He came home quietly and went right back to work with his father the next day. And so many of them did. My father passed away in 2001, but he was one of those World War II veterans that I too am so proud of. And my uncle the same. And so I know there's many stories, but fortunately we still have some of these heroes left. And I hope tonight that the group, that they can get the word out and tell you how to learn about this, because it's amazing, and it truly is it's really a neat thing for these gentlemen to finally get some of the thanks that they deserve. So at this time, I'm going to ask, I don't know how many other, do we have any other veterans on this? Well, Mr. White's a veteran. Any other veterans here? Right? Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll ask all of our veterans from the City Council to line up along the front right here and help me. And with the three gentlemen, would you please, let's help them up front. We're going to make a presentation to them at this time. Come on up, gentlemen. Turn around here and face the audience. And aldermen who are veterans, why don't you get right behind us here, okay? Just gather in around us, because I think it's tremendous. Sometimes we don't realize our own heroes we have on board. That's pretty good, Ardell. So we're going to start with you. I'm going to start. I was wondering where that was. I knew my assistant was
I knew. Here, Johnny, would you hold those envelopes? Yeah, I still have to use them. Hey, this year.
The first gentleman here tonight is Ardell Miller. And these certificates are all pretty much the same, but they read like this. In recognition of your honor flight June 25th, 2013, the City of Belleville takes pride in recognizing your years of service to community as well as service to country in the United States Army during World War II. This is a very small token of appreciation from our community to you, Ardell. But I want to tell you, we're sincere in telling you thank you. It may be a late date, but it's still much deserved. That was neat though, wasn't it?
500-600 people.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Our next gentleman, and thank goodness his daughter spoke up to me, and he lives out just a couple blocks from my mom, I learned, but he was sitting there and he says, I'm from Belleville too. I felt bad because I had sent Ardell a letter in the clay, and I didn't know these two guys. I didn't know about Lou until that morning when New Democrat had an article. But to this goes Certificate of Recognition for World War II to John Jack Gianetti. In recognition of your honor flight, June 25th, 2013, the City of Belleville takes pride in recognizing your years of service to community as well as service to our country in the United States Navy Air Corps during World War II. And the next gentleman, and you got a letter for, you didn't get a letter because I didn't know you were on the flight. That was the letter, so you got the same treatment that Ardell got. The next gentleman is, he was the one that got a little publicity in the paper that morning that they were coming home. World War II Certificate of Recognition presented to Glenn, is it C or G? C. Holtz. In recognition of your honor flight, June 25th, 2013, the City of Belleville takes pride in recognizing your years of service to community as well as service to country in the United States Army during World War II. That Representative Huffman had for these two gentlemen, because he learned that morning. He called me then and said, hey, did you see where these guys are going to honor flight? But I didn't know, he didn't know you were there that day, so this is also from him. Mr. Holtz, you were going to say something.
Well, listen here. I prepared this because
Hey, we got, believe me, we listen to all kinds of stuff. We listen to you.
Anyway, Mayor Eckert and ladies and gentlemen, probably some of you are veterans, and I want to thank you for your service. The honor flight has been my greatest life experience, other than marrying my wife Dorothy. I can't exclude her or my two children. I can think of no event which has touched me like seeing all of the memorials in Washington, D.C. They stand alone in their glory. Mr. Redondo Lopez and Mr. Harry Dunn, the flight organizers, did an excellent job in arranging and organizing the honor flight, and I salute both of them. It's indeed an honor to be invited to appear here before you gentlemen and ladies who run the City of Belleville. My best wishes and sincere thanks to Mayor Mark Eckert, who invited us from the honor flight participants here, and I thank you very much.
I just wanted to thank the city here for recognizing all the veterans. It was really a wonderful experience. I have been there before, though I haven't seen a few of them. Every place we went, there were people there. Wow, it was just amazing. Of course, when we got back to Lambert, like you said, there must have been 300, 400 people. I was just unbelievable. And if there's any more veterans, there's still a possibility, or you can still World War II veterans, especially.
We got a number?
I have a number.
I got a number. If you call us, we'll have it.
Anybody wants
We had some brochures, I think we took. We'll have some more back here. But please, I think one of the purposes of why we wanted to do this tonight, besides to recognize these gentlemen, and we know there's many more out there like them, but over time, numbers are getting less. But we want to share this because it was so impressive that some of you who, like I said, have neighbors or grandparents, etc., let's tell them about it. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience, and let's share this wonderful opportunity. We talked about, I mentioned my father, like many of you in this room, have had family who were in the war. During World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, as many of these guys, newer wars today. I told many of them, my friends at Scott, it wasn't until this past year that I experienced sending my son to Afghanistan. And he was there for 9 months as a trauma surgeon, and he saw an unbelievable amount of duty to try to put these young men and women who were injured so severely. Brings back a whole different perspective of our appreciation for life and our appreciation for truly these heroes. So gentlemen, to your families for getting here tonight, we salute you, and we're very, very honored that you joined us here this evening.
Thank you.
For the CBI Theater, which I served in for 2 years. And it's just healing.
Thank you, guys. Thanks to all of our veterans. What up? Yes. Yeah, I don't know, Jim, you want to say a few words? It's good point, good point. We got another presentation in a second. Alderman Holt's making mention that we had another phenomenal event this week. If you read the paper once or twice, they did do some good job in covering it. The Great Day of Service. And Jim, you want to say a few words about that? Gentlemen, thank you. We certainly understand if you want to go because it could be long. Thanks. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming.
What Mrs. Hall is referring to is we had Belleville's first big day of service. We serving on Thursday. We had over 2,000, 1,200 students came from all over the country, from churches. Descended upon Belleville, we were able to do 20-something service projects at 16 different sites, and a whole lot got done. Goss Park, for example, you'll hear a little bit about that, I think, in a little bit. It went from a field to a park in 3 hours because of that. And while I'm standing here, I was thinking about doing this anyway. I want to thank you guys who, from behind the scenes and on the scene, that day, a lot of the aldermen were there. I know a lot of you had to work, but I really appreciate that support that came from the city itself. A lot of support from the Parks Department, Street Department, a lot of departments. And I was very proud of the neighbors. A lot of the neighborhoods got involved with this all over. The neighborhoods organizations like Coeur d'Alene. It's really a fabulous day. What's possible for Belleville. And thank everybody for being here.
Thanks, Jim. Yes.
Your Honor, I just want to state that I too want to thank Mr. Schneider, everybody involved, speaking as a representative of the Coeur d'Alene, the oldest, longest-standing youth organization in the city of Belleville, going over 60-plus years with the work that was done out at Arnold Field in Belleville, Coeur d'Alene, 411 West Monroe. We very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Good.
Can I ask Donna, are we going to talk about Nick and the wonderful contributions he made in a little bit? Okay. It was a thrilling project to be able to be involved with. I ended up just being the errand runner for my group, but that that was wonderful because I got to interact with so many of those kids. And the first group I met came from Maryland. They were all Chinese kids. The last group I met came from Hawaii, and the more we talked, some of them went to the same elementary school that I had gone to. Mr. Mary, it was thrilling to us. We had some at the House of the Historic Society has been able, with the city's help, to get at 11th and A, and the original blueprints were found while they were cleaning out that house. So we were very grateful for the excellent work that was done.
Great, it was a great day. Jim?
I want to add one other thing. There's a lot of people who can single out, but I do want to single out this Eagle Scout right here and tell you to watch the Belleville News Democrat the next few days because he's getting a little bit of fame for all of his help and design work on Goss Park. He really did a good job in the background. Thank you for that.
Very good. Very good. Give your name.
I'm Nick Artiaga. I live on 1407 West A Street. And I especially love to thank the City of Belleville, Parks and Rec, and Melinda for being there, helping out. It was really great having all those volunteers, and one day it just transformed my dreams, and everything came true, and it was a pretty good day.
Eagle projects are fabulous service projects, and I applaud you. Being a former Scoutmaster, I know the work that goes into them, and having two Eagle sons. Thank you very much. It's an excellent way for you to achieve your goals as earning the Eagle eventually here now. You're getting real close if you got your project under your belt.
Well, actually, it wasn't my Eagle project.
Just a service project additional?
Yeah, I got the Eagle Project Scout of the Year last year.
Super. That's above and beyond.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get another palm. But thank you very much, because I tell you, giving back to the community, folks, is what sets Belleville apart from a lot of communities. We have a volunteer spirit that is second to none. And while we have our challenges, when you're going to be 200 years old next year, this city, we accomplish things in the fashion we do because of the volunteer spirit, and that's thanks to so many, all of you. Thank you very much, Nick. Okay. At this time, we have a presentation before we get to public participation. I didn't want to have the veterans sit and wait, because sometimes public participation can be long. But we had, by keeping presentations together, there's a brief presentation by Gardner Development here tonight. And who are the representatives? Okay, you want to come forward and introduce yourself, and we'll listen attentively.
I am Tammy Creason. I am from Gardner Development out of Springfield, Missouri. I will try to keep this very brief. We've come and talked to a couple of different commissions prior to this evening and tried to give a lot of information, so I'm going to kind of just keep it overview tonight, but I have lots of information. We've tried to provide you with some information. During one of the commissions that we were at last week, the question was asked, why Belleville? What about Belleville is so great? And I think tonight is a great reminder of, why we seek out communities like this, that, we're coming into these communities, we're investing in these communities. As a company, we spend a lot of time and energy, not just providing housing, but providing housing that goes so beyond that. And this community has just been amazing from the day that we first came and toured it, and the different things that we've heard and people that we've had the opportunity to talk with. And so it's just re-encouraged me, if anything, that obviously the Air Force Base was a huge draw for us and looking for community service projects within our communities. This particular project is proposed as single-family homes in an area that was platted and subdivided. We're working with an existing use. It's already zoned. And so when you're doing houses, it's a little bit different than doing apartments or senior communities, where we get the opportunity to incorporate a lot of different service projects and social services and things that can enhance and extend lives for senior communities. But for single-family homes, it's kind of a little bit different project for us. So as a company, one of the things that we've really been targeting, which really I kind of feel like my balloons deflated a little bit after following those wonderful presentations on honor flights, was that we have been working a lot on trying to identify VA needs. In different communities, those are defined differently. In this community, you've got Scott, it's got a vibrant, active Air Force Base, and we think that it's a really unique opportunity to engage and connect with that, with these single-family homes, whether that's for active enlisted people. They have a privatized housing that through that base, because base housing is full, they privatize that and put it out. And just through people that are also coming back and transitioning into the community through that base. So we definitely are really excited. We've been working with a lot of investors and different people that specialize and give back to veteran-type services. So we're really excited to have an opportunity to take some of our history and social services and see what we can do with it in a little bit unique aspect in working with the Air Force Base and trying to provide them a lot of opportunities. Sometimes housing is the greatest opportunity, just giving them that single-family home, not having to go back to an apartment or things as they're trying to transition and get settled in a community. So with that, we are proposing, for those of you that don't know, we're looking at the Homestead subdivision off of Carlisle, and we are actually proposing a project that we feel is really conducive to how the site is currently laid out and designed. These are single-family homes. All of these homes are going to be 2, 3, and 4 bedroom. The square footage on the homes are approximately 1,400 plus interior residential finished square footage. So that's actually a footprint of about 1,800 plus feet. They're all 2-car garage. They're all masonry products finished with brick or hardy board or durable, sustainable products. One of the things that we first started looking at, again, it's zoned correctly and it's plotted, and really just trying to find some unique opportunities to make it a neat character to that neighborhood. So many of the single-family homes we do are just traditional. We work with different communities to create different designs. We specialize in multifamily apartments as well as senior communities, and again, there being a lot of experience to that. But for here, we really are proposing just the single-family homes. One of the things that we spend a lot of time doing as a company is historic preservation. So that was something that kind of intrigued me when we first started working within this community. You have a beautiful historic district here, and it was really a unique opportunity for us to maybe take some of that historic experience that we have and incorporate it into the homes. All the interior finishes will be very modern. Those are faux hardwood floor, appliances, washers, dryers, all of the things that you would expect in any single-family home in a well-developed subdivision. You can keep going there. We're working within the first tract of that, and I don't know how much of this you guys have been prepped on, but the first tract as you're entering that is actually unincorporated land. So when we were kind of trying to look at which section of that acreage we wanted, we started basically where the city boundary begins. So it's about a third of the way back. If you take that tract of land there and divide it into thirds, we're kind of right in the center of that. So approximately where that road that's in now, I think it's Potomac or something that's in there now, approximately where that road ends is where we're proposing to begin. One of the things that is unique to this project, and that I know a lot of people have heard the word, and I just briefly want to touch base on it, is that it is proposed as an affordable housing community. And affordable housing is something that we take a lot of pride in being a part of. There are many, many programs out there today. There are subsidized programs where the government is actually paying a portion of someone's rent, and that is not what this particular project is. This project, every person that is living there has to work, they have to pay the rent, and they have to pay the same amount of rent as their neighbor. We have a lot of different aspects incorporated into this project that does allow for long-term home ownership to transition that back to a traditional homeowner-occupied neighborhood. And that gives you guys the benefit of immediate homes here in the community. I think we're proposing 44 immediate homes connecting to your services and permits and tap fees, and 44 families that are being integrated into this community. But it does accomplish a long-term goal of transitioning that back so that those are not rentals in the long economic development plan. The houses, like I said, I think a lot of people here, if there's anybody here from the neighborhood, I think that that's probably what they're most interested in instead of the economics of it, although I'm glad to go into it. But again, 3-bedroom, very traditional, 1,800 square foot footprint houses. We tried very, very hard to pay a lot of attention to the surrounding neighborhoods and make sure that this is something that's going to be improving and sustaining the property values. We have a lot of things built into this to make sure that we are safeguarding that. When these homes are transitioned and sold in the future, that they are being sold at market values that will, again, sustain and even raise the property values around them. So we try really, really hard to work with the communities and make sure that we're doing something that's going to have a positive impact on that. They will be professionally managed. Again, I think they're going to look very consistent with other things that are in the neighborhood or surrounding neighborhoods. We're working with 3 or 4 different floor plans just because of the uniqueness of how those lots are laid out. There's several of them that are really long, narrow lots, and so we're going to kind of just try to intermingle some traditional ranch style with some non-traditional, but still maintaining that square footage for the long-term value of it. These are some homes that we did up in North Kansas City, Missouri, that were new homes on similar types of lots. Those are actually 1,450 square foot homes. But what was unique about that, and what we hope to bring to this particular community, is trying to incorporate a historic aspect to the homes. So if you go through those elevations, these again, I just took some that we just happened to have finished, but if you go to that next slide, I think that you can see that there's a really neat opportunity that we can tweak those and kind of work with your local history and your local historic heritage to try to create something that really complements the history of the community and gives it a really neat character within that neighborhood. I think that evokes emotion and it gives people pride and wanting to connect to the neighborhood, which, as you guys have seen tonight and heard, is really important within a community. So I talked a little bit about the VA. I'm trying to talk really fast because I know you guys have lots to do, but I do want to address any questions and be available and get the information out. I do have packets on all of this too if anyone's here from the neighborhood, but I'm super glad to present to them. It goes into a lot more specifics on what affordable means. I'm glad to stay and talk with people. We will have professional management on the property, and I think at the end of the day, when we're coming in, you as a council, like I said, it's zoned correctly. We're working within what was a pre-existing proposed plan. We looked at your comprehensive plan and tried to incorporate ideas and things that are conducive to your comprehensive plan. But really, at the end of the day, what you're getting and what really makes the difference in what you're getting, I think, comes down to good management and experience. And that's something as a company we spend a lot of time on. We have a professional management company that manages in multiple states throughout the Midwest. We'll be hiring local on-site management and maintenance to ensure that there's a local presence enforcing that. We absolutely are checking rental history, credit history, job stability, proof that they can pay the rent. We're a for-profit developer, so it doesn't do us any good to move people in that don't have the potential to reach that long-term goal of home ownership at the end. So we spend a lot of time on the management. We absolutely do criminal checks on every person moving in. That's something that in a neighborhood like that is really important, especially to ensure that we're creating a base of residents that are going to long-term transition into this community. So criminal checks on every single person. We're very, very, very strict adherence to that. And this is just all management. I'm trying to go through this quickly, but we have properties we have about 50 properties that we manage, own. We've had all of our properties. Our oldest property is about 16 years old right now. So we still own it, we still manage it, we still maintain it. It's actually come out of this program that we're able to sell it, but due to a lot of the time and energy that we put into the front end and the market studies and making sure that we're going into communities that we're really proud to be a part of and connect with. I say in a lot of my presentations that we did earlier in the week that we're not a developer, we're not coming through town and building houses and leaving. We're really moving into this community and hoping to become a neighbor. So thankfully we've seen a lot of success in that, and we have managed to continue to own and maintain all of our properties.
And the item on the council agenda tonight is, Emily, am I correct that we're asking for her to approve a letter of support for their application? Correct. And so this is a process. It's far from there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just at this point in time, that's what the motion is, strictly to say that we, listen. It's been a committee. I believe Mr. Kinsella went to your committee. Is that correct? Economic Development, and I believe it got a strong or unanimous support there. So, I have a question for the young lady.
Yes. Is this getting to home ownership? Is it almost like bond for deed somewhat?
It is not. This is actually something very different, and that's something that we talk a lot about in the lower committees, is that it is not an immediate, this is not like a lease to own or anything like that, that it's an immediate opportunity for home ownership. It's a long-term economic development tool to transition it back to. So they will remain rental and managed under our management company that will manage and own them for up to 15 years before those transition back. And then we have a program that basically we give a seller, it's kind of a down payment assistance credit, and they can actually get up to 40% off of the current market value. So we appraise the home on market value, we sell it for current market value, and then we basically give to them a down payment assistance that can be up to 40%, and it's based on how long they've lived in the home. They don't have to live there from day one, they can live there for 1 year, or 5 years, or 10 years.
How long do they usually stay rental, and what if you don't sell them, and the ones that do, all of a sudden it goes into foreclosure? Who's going to take care of the property and take care of stuff like that?
And that's a lot of the stuff that we address. That's a great question. A lot of the stuff we address in
have a lot of
detail.
rental.
Can we do this when it comes, we have so much public here, like, we can.
Okay, we can go to public.
Well, you're gonna be here, me too.
Absolutely.
Sure, you have a question out
I've
loud?
got one question. Is this a property where both the ends of the neighborhood are falling into the mine societies? Is that where they're planning to build this? Right behind Lee's Chicken, where that's all mine societies in there? Is that the area? Because there's claims of 12 houses in Weatherstone, and then on the other side, in Lincolnshire, there's houses that almost have a dozen claims
See,
over there.
both of those subdivisions are in the county, so I'm not personally familiar
Well,
with
that whole
some of the
farmer's
properties.
field is actually mine societies, and that's why it never got developed before. So I was just wondering if that's the neighborhood.
That is the neighborhood, and we have been, again, we're very, very early in this process, but we're engaging a lot of our own geotech reports and different things.
Doors may not close, windows may not shut, brick may fall off later.
And we are 100% responsible for it. We have a lot of unique aspects that we talked about earlier in some of the meetings, and I'm glad to go into it, that it's overseen that we're required to reserve on a monthly basis per house for future maintenance and things. It's actually not even controlled by us, it's controlled by the state.
So is that why it's a government-assisted program? It's because nobody would want to buy a home there. You almost just got to lock them in that big rental thing.
Well, I hear your point, but I think, as we know, there's very little area throughout St. Clair County that's not undermined. I mean,
Yeah, but not the ones that are falling.
Well, like I said, and because not our subdivisions, I'm not as familiar with the complaints there because we don't directly get them. I think at this time, I'm going to, we'll get to the particular question on the item on the agenda. If there's some other questions for you, we'll do that. We'll move on. At this time, I'm going to open public participation, and we will begin that. I would ask you, as you come forward, we allow this lady a little bit more time because she coming from out of town to work with our committee to make a presentation about a possible development, but we thought it was only fair that you got a taste of what they're talking about tonight. So at this time, I'd ask you to raise your hand if you want to speak. Let me recognize you. Come to the microphone and try to keep your comments to 2 to 3 minutes if possible. Yes, ma'am, right there. Yes, you're first.
Do I come up
Come up to the microphone and give your name and address.
Marie Warner, 300 South Church in Belleville. And I'm requesting a use variance. I currently operate an in-home daycare, and first I want to apologize because I've been doing it for 3 years, and I'm licensed through DCFS. However, I wasn't aware of the fact that if I cared for more than 3 children, that I needed a variance through the city. So first I want to apologize for that. I have prepared packets that I think, and I hope everyone has received. And basically, it just goes over an overview of that I have been licensed through DCFS, that I've also set up with a food program that's funded by the state that helps take care, they reimburse me for quality meals that I feed the children in my care. And I'm also set up with Children's Home and Aid. They actually help pay for low-income families' child care. And I have 3 of those children in my care. And I also am a member of Illinois Gateway Association, which is striving in excellence in child care. And I also was awarded a scholarship to go back to school. I actually have a bachelor's from SIU, but I'm going back to school to further my education and get a bachelor's in early childhood. So then I can better equip myself to take care of these children.
Your packets were very well put together.
Okay, thank you. I even enclosed pictures of the inside of the premises and the outside of the premises, front and back. I also, last meeting we had a gentleman that opposed it due to sound. issues, and I have we rented a decimal reader, and we did a presentation on that as far as what the decimals readings were. I did, I'm sorry. Okay. I did 3 different settings. I did normal outside noise. I did it on the location in front of my house. I did it in the location behind my house with the fence. And I did it at the gentleman, outside the gentleman's house that has an issue with the noise. With regular, just outside noise, it was 51 to 52 decibels. And then I also had my husband mow lawn, and I did a decimal reading again in front of our house, again behind the fence, and again at the gentleman's house. And those readings were 59 and 58 decimals. And at the gentleman's house, it was 55. Then I had 10 of my children that I care for be as loud as possible outside and making noise. And those decimal readings at the highest was 61, 63, and at his house was 58. So noise is not, and I've also contacted the gentleman and tried to work with him as far as coordinating a time if he wanted, because his argument was in 6 months when he retires, he doesn't want to see squabbling noise of children's laughter and screaming, what have you. And so I've made arrangements, I tried to make arrangements with him, however, that I would accommodate and not have the children outside when he wanted to enjoy the scenic view of the alleyway. I do have 27 signatures from neighbors that were not opposed to the variance, that were supporting it.
Did you submit those to the zoning board?
Yes, I did. It's in their packet.
Okay, that's fine.
And that's it.
Let me just say to everyone, because I know there's people here on both sides, but first of all, in the 3 years she's been operating, to my knowledge, the city has never received a complaint. And when we talked, I made that point of understanding that and recognizing her for that. Second of all, she came to us trying to make sure she was in compliance. So I also think as the council views this, it is unique there. As much as we've been very steadfast on single-family areas, you're on the edge of it, and there is a lot of mixed use right there with some other daycares. And I just want to tell you, I applaud the way you packaged this up and the way you were straightforward about sharing your information. So, Alderman Davidson?
Mayor, could I ask?
Yeah.
In your area right there, there is a place called the Learning Center, 225 South High, which is...
Learning Journey.
Learning Journey. How is that different from yours?
They take care of, I believe it's kids 3 to 5, I want to say, or preschool age, and they also have, they own 3 daycare facilities. They own Toddler House, which is on East Lincoln, and then they own Toddler Town, which is on High Street, or Jackson. They are also a center. I believe that they are full of capacity, and I'm offering just love and affection and guidance and teachings, and also I am implementing a system that we will be progressively looking on the state website, Illinois State Police website, and keeping sex offenders out of our neighborhood. In fact, about 6 to 9 months ago, I might be a little off on the time frame here, I had a police officer knock at my door and ask me if I was Marie Warner, did I run an in-home daycare, and I said yes. Do you mind why, can I ask why you're asking? And he said, well, I have a registered sex offender that wants to live up the street, and now I have to tell him no. I said, thank you.
I was wondering what my question is. Are these other facilities, these 3 other facilities, are they similar to yours?
Yes.
And they're within spitting distance?
Correct, yes.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation, and now we'll open it up to some other people. I'll recognize this gentleman here next.
Rick Brown, 125 Lucia Lane, Shiloh, Illinois. Got a funny story and I got a sad story. I know a gal who her sister moved in with her and went to put her on the occupancy permit for the 2 children, and they said they had to come out and measure the home. Make sure that the 4,800 square feet would hold 5 people. And when they got there, they drove up in a truck. They came and come in and measured. Truck said animal control line, which is kind of typically the way that the housing department treats the residents. Second story is a sad story. The greenhouses directly across the street from me, with the help of the lady that ran for alderman, Victoria Wygant, filing bankruptcy. And they're going out of business. Because they were messed with by the city, and you know, the city seems to help people that they want to help, give them tip money. They didn't ask for tip money. All they wanted to do is do what everybody did at that piece of property when they bought it. Ended up buying a piece, or getting a piece of property in Swansea, because they're basically run out of Belleville for the retail part of it, and it didn't work out for them. And thanks for the help from the city and the former alderman candidate. And that's a sad story because, you know, before Christmas, it's always beautiful to look at the poinsettias out there in the winter when there's snow around. Third thing, the housing department sent a letter to me, and my alderman said I had to get permits on a couple of water lines that I installed on my properties. You know, and told me all the rules and everything. Only problem is, I got the permits 3 weeks before. You know, it seems like the left hand and the right hand doesn't know what it's doing over at the housing department and the permitting department. You know, this Gardner project, I think it's a great deal for the city. I really do. We need to get some new blood in this city. We need to get new homes built and affordable homes, and it would fit right in. I hope you guys give them the letter. Last thing, I imagine there's a lot of people that are here tonight to voice their opinion after the trial at the Zoning Board of Appeals. Guys, don't let mob rule. You know, the trial was, it's like the Trayvon Martin case. You know, the jurors are the ones that decided the Trayvon Martin case. The people on the outside really don't know, you know, what's going on. Let the Zoning Board of Appeals and the way that they voted, they were the triers of fact in these cases. And the maybe people that are opposed to whatever it was that's going on should have been at the Zoning Board of Appeals hearing to be heard, rather than come up here after the fact and have the council overturn that. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am, I'll start with you next. We'll work our way around. Okay. Go ahead.
My name is Donna McKelvey, and I live at 205 East D. And I hope you have a little tolerance for me because I am trying to represent 4 people who could not be here. One is out of the country, one is left for their daughter's wedding, and the other one had to work. So we'll kind of keep it short. The first letter is with regards to the zoning appeal meeting that's asked for a variance for the Curly, whichever property, whichever zoning thing that is. I think it's the first one that's on it. And this person says, I do not support the variance request. It is not in the interest of anyone in the neighborhood beyond the applicants. I think parking, traffic, noise, litter, and smell of porta potties would be all adversely affected. With all due respect to Ms. Curley, I do not have great confidence in the effectiveness of the applicant's proposed hands-off approach to the business in ensuring that the cleanliness and order are maintained. Leaving all in the hands of various contractors who do not live in the neighborhood and who are only required to meet undefined standards or else suffer undefined penalties is asking far more good faith than I'm willing to offer. This neighborhood is zoned single-family for a reason, and this proposed use is inimical with single-family zoning. And that was a statement by Mr. Thomas Brewer, who owns property at 321 North Jackson Street and who is now in Germany. This is from Mr. and Mrs. John Siemens, who also live on North Jackson. Due to family circumstances, we are unable to address you in person. We have been advised that we can submit a statement to be read regarding proposed zoning variation for R1 for the Curly property located on Jackson Street. We are owners and residents of 323 North Jackson, located in the same block as the property. We're very concerned, and we're afraid it will have a negative impact on the neighborhood. The event venue that Ms. Curley and her associates have proposed will create issues with parking in a neighborhood where homeowners depend on the availability of street parking in front of their homes. It is common that homes of the age in this neighborhood do not offer street parking. Parking on a public street is not restricted, so there is no means that Ms. Curley can provide that would ensure parking is access to her property. The plan presented earlier mentioned satellite use of the parish parking facility at St. Luke's, but unfortunately human nature will prevail and visitors to Ms. Curley's venue will opt for the closer parking, which is in front of our house. We're also very concerned about the impact of the portable restrooms, which will be discussed by Ms. Curley and her associates. We would be faced with hauling in and hauling out of these restroom trailers and the other commercial traffic associated with such enterprises. It took many hours of time by the members of our neighborhood association to secure the SR1 zoning for this area. We feel that this is the proper zoning for the property in question and request that you deny this variance. Those are those two. This next two are for the rezoning of the prior Don Bosco Center for the missionary, for the Hoyleton, thank you very much. Alderman, due to family circumstances, we are unable to address. This is also by Mrs. Siemens, Jan Siemens and John Siemens. We are owners and residents of 323 North Jackson Street, and we have some grave concerns to propose the variance use of the Bosco Center property. The proposed use of this property threatens not only the financial value of our homes, but seriously affects the nature of our neighborhood. This neighborhood already faces many challenges with a higher than recommended ratio of renter and transitional residents to single-family homeowners. Due to this high ratio of low-income housing, we already have a high level of transitional residents who are developmentally disabled or deal with types of mental illness. This puts a strain on not only our neighborhood, but also the downtown business district. All of the homeowners who have signed petitions or will speak to you tonight against this variance request represent hundreds of thousands of dollars of investments in this area. We are striving hard to preserve a safe and secure environment for families to live in the downtown area of Belleville. We understand that the parish's support of this project as perhaps a mission, but it undermines the significant investment which we have been making to preserve single-family living in this community. We urge you to deny this request for variance. And lastly, by Sherry Dvorak, who lives at 509 East B Street, to Mayor Eckert and the City Council, I'm opposed to any zoning changes. I would like to uphold the single-family zoning. I was not able to attend this meeting tonight, and I hope you'll accept this letter. And I have these if you'd like to pass.
Why don't you bring them forward and give them to the clerk, please? Thank you. We'll put them in the file. Okay, the next person. Gentlemen, standing in the back first. You, sir. You come forward, we'll request your hand so I'll get to you. Just be patient. Just give your name and address.
My name is Jeremy Stellwag, 608 Sycamore Street. I would like to briefly speak on behalf of Marie Werner and her petition for variance. Somebody the alderman here asked what's the difference between Toddler Town and Marie. And I'm not at all denigrating any location or anyone else. Marie is family. And there are a significant number of her supporters, I think, in the room here. Bill, hands.
Wow.
You can vote, sir. Four. And that goes to a testament as to who she is as a person and the service that she provides to our children, you know. Not to sound corny, but children are our future. They're the future of this town, the future of the state, they're the future of this country. And there is, in my mind, very few more unsung heroes and very few more important individuals than those who care for our children. That used to be our mothers, that used to be in some cases our fathers, but that used to be our mothers, staying home with the children. That is not the case anymore. So we have to place our children in the hands of somebody who treats them as if they are their own. I experienced the flip side of that in having my children abused by a child care provider who did not ask for variance and was not licensed. We were the first people to bring our children to Marie. Within a month of our children being with her, she had already started the application process to get licensed. She had already started all of those processes. This just happened to be one process she was not aware of. In the end, we have a choice in life to support the good guys or not. She's one of the good guys. She's one of the people that will become a pillar of this community. She wants to join the Chamber of Commerce. She wants to be active in the community. She is already raising community leaders of the next generation. She is teaching my children better than public school what the state capitals are. So I ask you, when you go to make your decision tonight, to think about the value that this woman is going to bring and the integrity that she has shown when so many other businesses in general, so many other individuals in general, as Your Honor the Mayor has said, don't. You know, this woman has come before you and asked for something straightforward and honestly, and I hope that you are willing to grant it to her. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for your time. I'm sorry?
Maybe one sentence. Say one sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
To what you said about the children learning the capitals, I was very impressed. I went by the house and she had the children do the capitals. I didn't even know.
To that point, if I may, I generally work until 6 or 7 o'clock. My wife generally works until 5 or 5:30, and she is there on the button at 5:45, 6 o'clock. Marie and her assistant, who is also her sister, routinely help my children with their homework, and I feel guilty about it at times, but routinely help my children with their homework and sign their homework papers on their behalf. You don't find that. So I really, really hope that after all is said and done, you choose to weigh the law against the good of the many.
Where is it?
I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. You can go next. And we'll, a lot of hands. I'll get to you. Just be patient.
Good evening, Rose Wilson. Before I get to my issue, I would like to take a few minutes or seconds to say thank you to the gentlemen that have been here and were honored on the honor flight. I am truly a recipient of their fight for freedom because they fought for my freedom. It was because of them that I ate and had food, and it was because of them that we were free in Germany. So I know they're not here, but I felt very compelled to say that. The other thing I'm here for, I made a commitment that every council meeting I will be here to talk about crime-free housing. I've had another meeting with a police officer in regards to the culprits in my neighborhood, which is DiMaggio Warren, related to the Griffin family. Apparently he is the ringleader of a group called the Goons. We had them on 1st Street, and now they spread to 11th Street, and it's a nasty group. Crime-free housing in our area is essential. Granite City had the same growing pains as we have. We did not invent the wheel. Granite City had the same opposition. The people that didn't want it called in the same heavy guns and had the same issues. Now that it's in place, the answer you get from Granite City is the best thing that we could have ever done, and even the landlords that were not on board before are on board now. So I will be here and pitch for crime-free housing. And I have one more thing to say. Mr. Cook, last week you took part in a rally at the courthouse that was from, in a political rally that was from, I believe, 10 to 11, as the paper says. I didn't want to believe some of our friends that have been trying to call to get a hold of the city clerk, and they couldn't get a hold of him. What you do on your free time is one thing, but in that hour that you were there, I feel your job was at City Hall. So you took that hour at taxpayer expense, and I don't think that's acceptable. You make a lot of grandstanding, really, and want to change this and that. But if you demand correctness of others, you gotta lead by example. So the next time, please don't do it on the citizens' time. Thank you.
Okay, next gentleman right behind, and then you'll be next. Okay.
My name is Bill Butcher. I live at 1050 East Monroe Street in Belleville, Zone 7. And I'm here to speak in favor of the zoning variance at 300 North Church Street. For better than 10 years, I've taught at PSOP. And when I get out of the car and go over to the door at PSOP, if I look over to my right, I see the Bosco Center sitting there. It hardly looks to me like a residential property, and I don't think that it will ever become a residential property. So it seems to me that it is prudent to have it occupied by a very responsible organization. I spent 9 years on the board of Hoyleton, and I have great respect for them. They are a tremendous organization, recognized by the state of Illinois as being a top organization in their class. The thing that they're planning to do has been proven already in Highland, and I asked the council to support the decision of the zoning board, which was passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, this gentleman here's next. Lady, okay. Okay.
My name is Emily Curley. I live at 314 North Jackson Street, and I also own the property next door, which is 306 North Jackson. For the majority of my life, I have lived on Jackson Street, and I care about the neighborhood greatly. When I had house tours for the Historical Society at my home, when I hosted Victorian garden teas for the Hexabucle at my home, and when we celebrated my son's wedding reception at my home, many of the guests commented to me about how much they enjoyed spending time amidst the beauty of the historical ambiance. Most people never get that opportunity. With this in mind, I want to offer these homes and these gardens for the settings of special events for people who would appreciate it. By special events, I mean anything from anniversary or birthday celebrations to bridal or baby showers to rehearsal dinners and possibly weddings, etc. These events would necessitate either a caterer or the provision of food by the people using the event space. I believe that these events would happen only occasionally, and each one would have to adhere to strict regulations and be monitored closely. Having these events could introduce people to our beautiful historical area, and it could also bring additional interest to the downtown Belleville area. Also, it could cause people to use the services of local merchants and restaurants and bring more revenue to our area. We have brought a draft of a contract for you to see in order to present all the aspects of what we are presenting, and we want this to be regulated so that the neighborhood is not negatively affected in any way. I intend to continue to live in my home, so I want things to remain unchanged and serene as well. But I also want to positively revitalize this beautiful historic area. I'm now going to turn this over to my friend Victor, who will give you some information regarding the contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. If I could just have a second, I want to pass a couple things out. Is that okay?
Is this for all the council?
I'm going to try to get.
This was just one packet here?
Emily's going to assist me with passing out the rest.
But these are three separate things here?
Yes, that's correct. The bigger package just has some photographs. I just have a couple of those. When we were at the zoning board, one of the things that came up was they had a concern that we didn't have any type of an agreement for what we wanted to do for the event space. So what we've put together is actually a draft of a contract that the venue space would be using for clients. Also, I would just want to go over kind of some of the considerations that we've kind of come up with to solve the problems, because we think this is a great opportunity to showcase one of two in the state Gothic revival homes, and it's on the National Historic Register, which is 306. So 306 would be used in conjunction with 314's garden. So what we'd like to do, first off, is say that if there is this zoning request for this use variance, we wouldn't want it to be non-transferable to anyone other than Emily. And one of the things that needs to be determined is the capacity of people for the house itself, and the garden would need to be determined by the fire marshal. In talking to Emily, she said that nothing like this has been done before in Belleville, so we'd have to have the fire marshal come in and set those standards. Also, one of the things that's really important to Emily, as well as the neighbors, and if you ever go down that street, there's not very many cars parked on the street. But for all events there, and this would be in the contract, and it is in this draft contract, that there would be staff that Emily would be employing to make sure that all guests, when they come and arrive, that they would not be blocking people's homes. Mrs. Curley owns from 306 up to 326. I own 300 North Jackson. So she owns every house on the west side of the east side of the street other than my home. So if you look at it, there's 300 feet that she has. And the way I did some estimating, and you can fit 23 cars within that 300 feet if they're approximately 13 feet long automobiles. And we're average of 2 people, which means we get 46 people on that street potentially that would be going to the event. Also, St. Luke's in this package, Sister Grace has written a letter of consent saying that they would offer to work with Emily if they're having a large event, and that Emily would be allowed to use the parking lot. And there's 52 marked spaces that they have, plus around behind the actual center, there's more grass lots, so there's lots of vehicle space. Also, one of the things in the contract that any event, valet parking would be mandatory and included in event contracts with guest lists greater than 75 people. We'd also have a commercial 2-yard dumpster would be on the site at 306 and would be enclosed in accordance with the new city ordinance. It would be behind a fence that's a driveway. Also back there, one of the concerns is the bathrooms. Now there are 3 bathrooms inside of 306. One of the things also that we thought we would make a requirement that any events that have more than 75 people, we would have 1 to 2 porta potties brought in. Now, one of the concerns of the neighbors and of us is like we don't want people looking at a porta potty if you're having a nice wedding. So there is a garage on the back of 306, and that garage, we were going to modify it, and it has a garage door. We're going to turn that into a temporary bathroom so no one has to look at the porta potty. So they'd come in, the door would go down, guests would come in from the front side, from the property side, and no one would ever see it. And the same with the trash. This is all going to be on the alley side, if anyone's familiar with that particular street. St. Luke's is right behind North Jackson.
We got quite a few people yet.
In closing, too, you will also notice in the draft contract, we've put most of the stuff that's on the consideration page into the draft contract that these people will be responsible. And again, to reiterate what Ms. Curley had said, she's very interested in showcasing this neighborhood and not turning it into a neighborhood. She wants to accentuate the positive of this neighborhood and of this street that she so dearly loves and has been here for her whole entire life. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, this is a lot of new information that did not come before zoning. Do we have a mechanism to send it back to zoning?
I think when we get to the motion, I think we'll address that when we get to the actual motion. Okay? Okay. A lot of people here. This gentleman's next, and we'll work our way back around. A lot of hands.
And I apologize, but I'll try to keep it to 2 minutes.
Okay, your name, sir?
My name is Pat Lutz. I live at 213 East Street. And the first, I'd like to oppose Emily Curley's variance request. It's zoned single family, and we in the Hudson Loop would like to maintain things as single family, if at all possible. We worked long and hard back in the 90s to make that whole neighborhood single family, and we grandfathered in a lot of the other apartment buildings per we had to. A lot of investment money has went into those houses and converted them back from multifamily to single family. We want to make sure that neighborhood stays that way and the variances don't float back and forth between single, multi-commercial property values. So I'm opposed to Emily's on that reason. Plus because of the noise, though it will be classy music, classy people, classy events, it's still going to be noisy, there's still going to be smells, there's still going to be, I believe, a lack of management control over how the party goes on, when it shuts off, that sort of thing. A lot of questions still in our minds about how that would be managed. The next one I'm opposing is the Hoyleton Ministries request to do a variance at 300 North Church. I have petitions here of just under 100 living residents in the Hudson Loop Neighborhood Association area that are also opposing this variance change, primarily because for the last 5 years it has been a single-family home, and we'd like it to maintain the property value as well as that zoning. So I'd like to submit these to the board.
Okay, please bring them up. Present to the clerk. Who's next, sir, over here?
And I'd like to just thank you for the time and the opportunity.
Sure, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jim Series. I'm a property owner at 308 East Lincoln Street. And I'm here basically to oppose Ms. Warner's application for zoning variance. I've talked to Marie several times. I appreciate her input, but I think I'm the cranky old guy that she's referring to, but I think I've been a bit mischaracterized. My biggest concern about this issue is not the noise, it's the zoning. I've got a package of information here that I put together. It's 20 copies, along with a petition of 10 residents that live in the immediate area that oppose this. Thank you, I appreciate it. There's enough for all the council members. I think this presentation has been kind of unfortunately framed with regards to the character and the nature and quality of the daycare services down the street as opposed to zoning. The Belleville City Fathers several years ago saw fit to zone this area from Lincoln South to single family. I'm in an unusual situation that I own a duplex. I've been there for 36 years. I live upstairs and rent down downstairs. So believe me, after completing a 10-year renovation, I'm very familiar with the regulations, the requirements, full electrical permits, building permits, inspections, those kind of things. So I'm very concerned about the neighborhood and preserving the zoning in that neighborhood, which is single family, much as the gentleman that spoke before me. By that I mean to promote its use as strictly residential. Granted, it is a mixed-use area, but I would prefer to promote the property values, the quiet use and full enjoyment of the property. Now, much has been made of the fact that Ms. Warner has come forward to apply for zoning variance at this point, but this is after 3 years of initiating a business, expanding a business, and pursuing a business. By her own testimony, she has a degree in business. She's been licensed by the Department of Children and Family Services. I would think she would have and owns rental property in the city of Belleville by tax rolls and her testimony, I would think at some point in that 3 years she would come forward to request a variance from the city. I find it rather odd that she comes forward at this point in time to request a variance when her and her husband want to move out of the neighborhood and convert this property to a full-time commercial daycare center. So I would just ask any of the people who live here, if she was coming forward with this request and this property was sited in Cheneau Place, or the Orchards, or the properties on Missouri, Illinois, Virginia, South or North, I don't think it'd be given serious consideration. The fact that it's in my neighborhood, in which the housing stock and the demographics of the population are perhaps not as consistent as in other neighborhoods, seems unfair to me with regards to the discussion about granting her the opportunity to continue her business and convert it full-time to a commercial business in a single-family zone area. I would just ask each and every one of you as councilmen, if this request was given to you and this property was in your neighborhood, what would your decision be? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Paul Lynn, 219 South Church, 50 feet away from her and about 60 feet away from him. Marie's talked about, the noise level. I live literally door to door, 50 feet across the street. I've never heard any noise, no problems, nothing with parking. And in the neighborhood, there's right in front of his house, there's another business there. And then a couple blocks down, there's another laundromat. So there's businesses in the neighborhood already. It's not all 100% residential right there. So as for the zoning, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. Personally, and I live in the neighborhood. I own my home since 2008, me and my wife. And I just want to say there's never been a problem with parking, noise, or anything. And I don't know why Marie wouldn't get this variance. She's a wonderful person, and I've never had a problem with her or the noise or anything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, you can be next.
I'm Rock Baraki. I live at 428 Weatherstone Drive. My concern with the proposed housing development area is one word, drainage. I'm not sure you're familiar with it, but we've had some significant problems with drainage in the Weatherstone subdivision. We were told it would be fixed when they put in the lease chicken in the other strip mall area, that somehow that would fix it. It appeared to make it even worse. So, I would love to get more information on it, but my big concern is that that plot of land is roughly, I would say, 5 to 10 feet higher than the Weatherstone subdivision. And that's my concern, is that we're going to have more drainage issues than we already have in that area. Thank you.
Good point, well taken. I think one thing to keep in mind, anytime that we do, and tonight's vote is again just for a letter of support to let them begin the process to go after the funding. It may not even happen. But before the various boards and approval process for any subdivision, they would have to meet strict guidelines to prove that the drainage, now we've never built anything there yet, but and I understand that you're in the county where you're at.
Right.
So we would have to listen to that very carefully, and they would have to calculate that and prove to us that they were not going to negatively impact the neighbors.
Understood.
So,
but again, my prior experience, when they did the lease chicken and a strip mall, and there's some other business park there, that came up. There is already some drainage ponds area. It bypasses that. For some reason, I don't know if it's the county that doesn't quite understand it, but when it rains hard, we get significant drainage issues. And one of the concerns is, even there's that where it backs up that lot, it would roll off that property into the backyards of the houses in that vicinity. And they've talked about it. Now, I don't know, whatever it has to do, I would just ask them to, look at mitigation. Again, drainage.
I agree. We agree with you there.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, yes, ma'am. We'll work our way around here. Go ahead, Don. Try to.
I will keep this brief. My name is Donna Mano. I live at 1407 West A Street. I am the Pleasant Hill Neighborhood Watch leader. We're less on formality. And I'm also the zone aid leader. I want to thank the city for the wonderful opportunity on July 11th with partnering with the church groups that came over from St. Louis. I also want to recognize one of our seniors from our area. He's going to be a senior in high school. That's Daniel Marinica. I had, besides Nick, I had another 2 college students from the area show up. That was, Zach Maddie and Willis Jackson from the neighborhood. I also wanted to thank Matt Domrick, he just graduated from boot camp. I'm very proud of that boy. And he came up on his day off before he gets shipped out to Fort Bragg to come help us with this project too. Now this Goss Park, I can tell you that Nick has been chewing my ear off about this since he heard about the project and started designing it. It's going to be a German heritage and walking exercise trail. His vision is to hold contests and also to get the seniors and the juniors over at Belleville West Art Department to design and create a fountain for the center. The welding students will get together with the art students to develop a functioning sculpture for our bike rack, as well as the exercise center in the back. And also they're going to be making benches around the center.
Awesome.
And like I said, I'm very proud. Now tonight, you're going to be voting on approval for Pleasant Hill to hold a Volks March in support of this to raise funds for the materials that these youth will be using to make this park happen and get off the paper. If you haven't seen this, it's Nick's drawing, but it'll get off of paper and make it reality. We're shooting for a 2014 dedication in September. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Lee, we'll go over you over here next. Trying to work my way around.
I'm here to speak on behalf of Marie Warner. The gentleman who spoke earlier is my son, so she takes care of my grandchildren. And I can, Diane Stagg. And I live in Fairview Heights, but Marie and my son and grandchildren live here in Belleville. All I can say is that my grandchildren are not just people, just young people that she watches. They are her children. Her little girls are little sisters to my grandkids. It's just, as Jeremy said, it's family. She's an amazing woman. The home, when I pick up the kids when they run late, her home is always clean. The kids are well taken care of. Their clothes are intact. I mean, they are, it's amazing when you walk in and know that there's children there. Yes, there's toys, but it's clean, it's well maintained, and it's exceedingly, it's an amazing place, and she's an amazing woman. And it's just, I can't say enough about her as a caregiver and a business owner.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, Lady Green.
I'm going to be the shortest, sweetest person that's here. My name is Stephanie Griffith. I live at 223 South Church. I am directly across the street from Marie Warner's home. I can tell you 100% there is not a traffic problem. There is not a noise problem. Her home, the yard, the landscape, everything is immaculate. You would never know there was a daycare there. I lived there for months without even realizing that people were coming and going, dropping off their children. I leave in the morning, there's no problem of getting out of my parking lot. I just don't think it'd be fair if she were denied based on something so simple that can be changed.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Okay. Okay, the lady back here in the far corner.
Price. I live at 412 Weatherstone, and I am very much opposed to this project for the simple fact that it's rental property. I own my home. Weatherstone is a great subdivision. It's very quiet. The only problems we have in our subdivision are with the rental properties, which unfortunately one is right next door to me. And the county doesn't have things in place to take care of overgrown bushes or the house with the mold on it. It only does to cut down the grass. And so I've been there 6 years, and I have had rental person after rental. And everyone has been, except this last one, I finally have a decent one in there. And they're having problems getting the homeowner to cut down the bushes. So that is my problem. I really am opposed to this for that fact. Anytime there's a problem in our neighborhood, it's because of the rental properties. Thank you.
Sir, we'll come up, we'll go around. Come on. We're going to take the intermission very soon.
My name is Douglas Brantley, and I'm 5 Garden Court, Swansea, Illinois. I just wanted to share my support for Maria Warner and her daycare. My daughter has gone there since she was about 3 months old. And I'm going to tell you, as a parent, to drop off a 3-month-old anywhere is just pretty hard. At that point, I wouldn't even drop off with my parents. I've always gone there. The kids have been extremely disciplined. They've been extremely helpful in helping getting things organized and getting Missouri, my daughter, out of there and everything as well. And most importantly, it's just a peace of mind to know that someone like this is taking care of my daughter during the day when my wife and I are working.
Very good. There's no two ways. It's quite a testimony how many people are here to speak on her behalf. Sir, you want to speak right there? Go ahead. I'm trying to get around here so we can get to the meeting. Not to cut anybody off, but just trying to get to some decisions here. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Sherelle Bird. I stay at 409 Weatherstone, and I have a concern about that complex that they want to put in the field here. One of the things I don't want to see is that, and I'm like my neighbor Joyce, I've had to call the county in on movers and everybody else has moved in. But I'm afraid that we're going to get more traffic. We're going to get people just walking all through the community. We're going to have more traffic. But we have a street that goes up Weatherstone that's basically aimed at that field. And so I'm believing that we're going to have more cars coming through as well. We don't have stop signs and stop speeders right now. And I understand the county is not going to give us stop signs. But I haven't seen a lot of positiveness out of rental properties. So I'm just completely opposed to it.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Okay, I'll leave you here in blue. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Bridget Sick. I live at 125 South 29th Street, and I'm here on behalf of Marie Warner. Everybody has heard how wonderful she is and everything, and she is, but she's more than that. You asked a question, sir, earlier, what the difference was between the daycare center down the street and hers. I am a single mom of 2. My job, I don't get to work very many hours. I go to school at night. My finances barely get me to have him at daycare so I can work. She works with me. I don't get to have to pay it all up front. I make payments to her. That's the kind of place that I want my kid to go to. If I go to a daycare center or any other place, if I can't pay it, my son doesn't go to daycare and I'm out of a job. She has the nicest home on that block, the newest home on that block. And she takes care of every kid as if it was her own. That's why it means by family.
Thanks for taking the time to be here. You're in the doorway there, sir.
My name is Tim Dunbar. I live at 714 South Pennsylvania. Speaking on behalf of Marie, my kids do go to her daycare, but I live in the city by choice. I've lived in 2 different homes here for the last 10 years. I run a business for a national company in Belleville Valley Industrial. I keep it here by choice. I think that business and good business is a good investment for the city, but she's running that regardless of the current zoning of the neighborhood, especially with it being on the fringe. The only other thing I'll add is to the gentleman's question. If it was in your neighborhood, would you want it there? And I would tell you 100%, she could open up right next door to me. I wouldn't have a problem at all.
Thank you for your time. Yes, sir, next.
My name is Jason Foster. I'm on 315 Plum Street. I'm supporting Marie as well. Real quick to address your questions, two of the big differences I've noticed. One is right now she sees at most 10 kids at a time, so I feel our son has more one-on-one activity. And the other thing, as the other lady mentioned, is kind of like daycare. It's not pay one fee, cover the whole month. If your child doesn't go for a week, you don't have to pay for the week. Our son goes 3 days, so we only pay for the 3 days he goes. It's not a flat fee, so it's more manageable. So if we have to look somewhere else, it could be a huge expense.
Thank you for the information. A lady standing in the back wall first.
I'm Desiree Peters. I live at 426 Park Avenue in Marine Warner. Again, Marie's wonderful, but the financial benefit is great for me. I only need a sitter 1 day a week. Family watches him. She works with me. I can't afford to send my kid 3 days a week like all the other major places do. It just wouldn't work for me. I couldn't afford it. I'd have to quit my job. I lose my insurance. So she works to make me be able to have a job and be there for my kids. So.
Thanks for coming. Yes, ma'am, seated in the back. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Calvin Burkhardt, I live at 423 South 21st Street, and I'm here to speak on behalf of Marie also. As a parent, it's very, very hard to give your kid to someone else for them to handle them, and Marie's awesome, Brian's wonderful. You know, it's great to have the peace of mind to say I can give my kid to you today, and I'm not going to have to stress out about it. Children are just important. Childhood is important. Scars can happen during childhood that would last a lifetime. And to be able to incorporate something into a community where even if it's only 10 kids being taken care of, they're being taken care of well, that's 10 kids that aren't going to be physically abused or mentally abused. So it'd be awesome if you guys would pass it and allow her to continue to take care of these children. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment. Okay, ma'am, right in the back here. Yes, ma'am, you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Sarah Conklin. I live at 1806 James Road. I'm Marie's assistant. I couldn't imagine having kids if the parents wasn't approved, having the kids pulled from us, because being a former foster child, I know what it's like to be, not have a safe place, and I feel like we provide that for the kids, when the kids are playing. Sorry.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let you know that. And, I just take care of the kids, and we're different from Morning Journey because we're there for their specific needs. I feel like, most daycares, they're just another number, so.
Thank you for having the courage to stand up here tonight. Yes, ma'am, on the white. Okay, we'll get over to the gentleman.
Hi, my name is Sherry Schwucke-Stryler, and I work for the Children's Home and Aid Society. And I'm not really here to speak on behalf of Marie because I don't know her, but I'm speaking on behalf of just early childhood programs. As Maria mentioned in her opening, that she does take children that receive assistance through the state, and that's through the Illinois Department of Human Services that's administered through our agency. She's also on a referral line, which means if parents call looking for childcare in the Belleville area, her name goes out to them. To our knowledge, she has not ever received any complaints with her license. And to address, your point about the daycare centers are on the corner and stuff, I just pulled up some numbers, and just looking at Belleville itself, there's 16 licensed, and I'm saying licensed daycare centers in Belleville, and there's 65 licensed family child care homes. Those capacity is only about 1,300 children. And when I looked at your census for Belleville, just the children under the age of 5 is almost 3,000. So when you look at those numbers, it's kind of like, where are those other children going? Yes, a lot of grandparents are caring for them, parents staying home and that, but we probably also have a lot of illegal childcare going on in Belleville. And that's one thing that I, kind of look at with Maria is that she has tried to do what she is supposed to do. The zoning, again, I work with family child care providers every day. I tell them to go check with their zoning. They do not do that, okay? DCFS does not. They also tell them, but they will issue a license without them having the paperwork. So, it is the responsibility of the provider, but a lot of them don't follow through with that. So I just wanted to share that information with you.
Okay. Sir, you're next.
Yeah, I want to speak on behalf of Marie also.
Your name, sir? Can we get you in the microphone, just so the tape recorder picks it up?
Okay. Yeah, I want to speak on behalf of Marie also.
Your name, sir?
Mike Hathaway. I live at 2848 Fairway Drive. It's also in the orchards. And I wouldn't have a problem at all, her being next door to me. She takes care of my son back there, and I couldn't ask for a better provider, It's like, basically like a second mom to me, really, so, as far as that goes, as far as the traffic goes, I can go there any time of the day, there's, like, I can park anywhere, so traffic's not an issue there at all or anything, so.
Thank you for coming out this evening, okay? Mr. Lander, you're next, then we'll come around. I didn't lose sight of you. Trying to wind us down here if we can.
Stuart Renner, 318 South 29th Street, Belleville. When you got an issue like this tonight, when you got consent, put the fars on one side and against on the other, and let them take a vote and get it over with. Don't have to take all night, That's just my opinion. Loyalty Ministries, I've been supporting Loyalty Ministries for years when it's not involved in Illinois. I've heard nothing but good about them. And is this Calhoun the same guy that screwed the city of Belleville out of $1 million that wants $15,000 to put a little fence around a dumpster? And also, I got a thing here. Linden would give Belleville $50,000 and $200. Now that's an odd figure, $50,000 plus $200. I'm just wondering if that ain't a payoff for the Belleville having the Catholic Church or the Methodist Church across the street condemned. So
it wasn't Methodist, Stuart, and you're starting to cross the line there.
I don't know what it was, but maybe they got, okay, they're building a dorm, a 2-story dorm that's made out of flimsy 2x4s that's going to hold up to 200 students. And in lieu of all these hurricanes and tornadoes we've got, this thing has absolutely no basement in it, no safe place for the 200 girls to go in case of a tornado comes by. There's absolutely no basement, and the construction would it would take just a small tornado to just tear it all to pieces. I think it's unsafe, actually.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Stuart, thank you. Yes, gentleman here first.
Hi, Brian Bowman, 204 South Church, and I'm one of the few people on this side. Yeah, the Marie Warner, is it Warner? Sorry. I think it's a wonderful thing that she takes care of these kids. I think it's a wonderful thing that she does such a good job with them, that so many of her customers are here. That's mostly what it is. It's her parents, her customers. I'm a local business owner. One of the first things I did, probably the first thing I did 20 plus years ago, was come to the city and see what they needed for me to open a business here. I wouldn't wait 3 years. Now, on the plus side, Don't hear her kids. If I do hear her kids, don't really notice it. Didn't really realize she was doing this illegally down the street. I think it's, again, wonderful that she does it, but we have a neighborhood that is mixed use. I am the first house that's not commercial on South Church. Other than that, I think it's a laundromat, and that's it, all the way to Fairgrounds. So there's no other commercial locations. The place that's next to me is now a massage therapy building. That when I moved there 14 plus years ago was a hairstyling place for little old ladies. Had a couple little old ladies working in there. They brought the little old ladies in. They did their hair. Now you got a commercial place that's been grandfathered in, and it's empty for 2 years. So now what do you do with it? Well, I think it's completely legitimate business that's in there, but it's maybe not on the same level as it was. So what happens when Marie decides to leave and something else wants to go in there? They've put in commercial fire alarms, they've maybe done some ADA improvements, they've done whatever else. This is a house that was built with what kind of funding? Federal funding or something? It's probably the newest house on all of Church. It was built under some program. He's got it on his flyer.
It was built by the local high school students.
Yeah, by the high school students, yeah. And I watched them build it, and it's on a lot that an apartment guy that has a big apartment building that I wish wasn't there, he wanted to build another apartment building, and somebody said, no, we don't want any more apartments here. So he was told no, and his lot was basically given away and allowed to be a double lot made into a house, which I'd dearly love to have a double lot myself for my house. Don't have it. Nobody else does up and down the street. So it is absolutely the newest house. It is absolutely one of the nicer houses, but it's a house. It was made as a house. Federal, whatever funds, local labor given away to make it a house, not a business. And that's the problem I have. Now, 2 and 2 together, this Don Bosco place, maybe that would be a good place. I think she should find a place to relocate. I think Belleville should try to give her, or get her, not give her, but get her a place that she can relocate. If I didn't have to pay business taxes and all the licensing and all the hassle factors, fire alarms, et cetera, for my business, I could probably charge less for what I do as well. But I have to do all those. I try to dot the I's, I try to cross the T's. As far as the volume level, yes, people mow lawns around my neighborhood. It's probably not much louder than a kid, but nobody's mowing a lawn 8 hours a day. I'm at work most of the time, so I don't hear it. But I don't think it needs to be in that neighborhood. I don't think the apartment buildings need to be there either. But how do you get rid of them once they're there? And this is really the issue. If you grant this variance, which the board already heard all these arguments with a whole ton of people in her favor, and they voted against it. So I don't know why anybody would do anything but go with what their recommendation was. I think it took a vote of 4 pluses for them to approve it, or for them to send it forward. They only had 2 pluses, 2 people for it out of 5, I believe. So why were those other 3 people against it then? And what is a bunch of people that don't live in the neighborhood really got to do with it, quite frankly?
Thank you for your comments.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Kathy Draper. I live at 500 South 19th Street, Belleville. First of all, I'd like to address the lady over here with the daycare. She did the right thing after doing the wrong thing first and came and admitted it. Okay, I don't know her personally. I don't live in the neighborhood. I've never experienced that, but I have run a county daycare in the past, 30 years ago. I do know that there is illegal daycares out there. I was a private investigator. I went and worked into daycares that were abusive towards children and have terminated them. You hear and I hear from all these people that she's a good person, she's running it by the thing. When you work with DCFS, you have to jump through hoops and blow whistles. Okay, it's not just, she's not just doing it out of her house to help poor people or help people in need. You got to jump through hoops and that with DCFS. That's my comment on that. I wanted to make a comment on Stuart saying about things at Lindenwood and all this stuff and that. Okay, if he wants to make an issue, No one has ever said anything about the crosses and cannons in your yard. If you lived in my neighborhood, you would be considered an eyesore. So I would just call the kettle black and look at where you're at and what you're doing. Third of all, I would like to say, I have seen online, which upsets the heck out of me, and I don't know if this is a place to say it or not, but I'm going to, and either they'll like it or they won't. I have 2 alder ladies this time. We switched zones from Ward 5 to Ward 2, and I appreciate that. They're trying to work with it. It upset me that I read online that Lillian Schneider said that the Bicentennial is a swamp, okay? You don't live in the neighborhood. There's a lot of good from it. I am the Bicentennial Neighborhood Safety Patrol, not the captain of the association, but the Safety Patrol. It has issues, but it had issues before it was a park. Everybody that goes there loves it. Yes, we've had issues. If you want to be for that area and you're a floater, and I get that, then help us with the crime in that area. Help us get that area newer. Help us with the neighbors. Be constructive. Don't be pulling us down. We've had that angler sitting there vagrant with Calhoun owning it with weeds over the 8-foot fences. We've had all kinds of stuff there. It's not a swampland. Yes, it has problems, but every new development does, and we're working through it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to wrap up. One more. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll take 2. Lillis, you can go first, and then we'll let the gentleman speak. The last 2.
305 Wall. I must say I have to support Maria. I think she's a class act. I think she runs a great facility, regardless if she got shot down in zoning or not. I think we need to consider her. I think if we lose her, we'll be losing a great person. And I think it would be a shame if we didn't override the zoning. And by the same token, the Harlington Ministries, I want to share a little light on that also. We have a gentleman who is the president of the YMCA, Hardheads. He's got a great facility there. That place is like a mansion. It has 5,000 square feet. It has a 4-car garage. It's adjacent to my property. We've never had no problem with him working with the community. He's worked with the mayor as far as the Aqua Center, trying to get a swimming pool. He was, again, the CEO of the YMCA. Now he just got promoted. So he's in Chicago. The organization that he brought in, he talked to me about it years ago. And he asked me, did I have a problem with it? And I said, no, because this man is doing a good job. That building over there, I wish I could afford it. I would love to do something with it. I mean, can you imagine 4-car garage, 5,000 square feet. You got like 4 bathrooms in that place. And in that community, it would not hurt the integrity of that community if we did that. Now, he made it through zoning, and now he's here for approval. He can't be here tonight because he's in Chicago. But when he was in this city, he was a leader amongst leaders. He always spoke highly of you, Mayor. He told me, Lee, whenever you come up in here, don't take things personal. Don't play the race card. Deal with the issues and try to get something resolved. He had nothing but positive things to say about you, Mayor. Now he's in need. He's in need of taking that building and having several adults there. But it's going to be well supervised. It's well lit up. I don't know if people have seen that place at a 300 North Church, but it's a beautiful facility. Again, I would love to buy it, but right now I can't afford it. I'm trying to make $1.15. But I would ask, since the zoning had approved it, and I talked to the alderman, I talked to the community, and everybody in my community that I talked to, they have no problems with it. On the same token, this young lady is doing a great job. Her future is in our hands. Let's do something for the people. That's what it's all about. Sometimes we have to go against the grain. And again, to reiterate, it would be a shame if we shot her down in light of all this support. And by the same token, Horace was a leader in our community. He was the president of YMCA. He took care of our kids. He ran a great ship over there at the YMCA. Let's do something for the people. He's been approved by the board. I heard there was a few people in opposition. I haven't talked to anybody in opposition, but I'm going to be canvassing the community. And I talked to them just late this evening. And I said, if there's any opposition, I want to know about it. Because this is passed, you're going to have the right staff there. You got that place like a baby mansion to me. We need to do something constructive. We have bread and breakfast facilities. We have an automobile facility right there in, I think, the 100 block of North Charles. We have a lot of, we have the SIU, Senior Citizen Clubs there. So it's not going to hurt the community. Mayor, get a guy a break. He's been good to this city. He's did a lot of great things. So I would ask two things to be approved. I would ask for that facility to be approved, and also on the same token, I would like for her facility to be approved. And closing on the note, we got a serious problem here, guys, and it's drugs. And I'm not here to make a big issue, but how can people judge when their judgment is being impaired by drugs? We had a rally, and one of our leaders, Mr. Cook, and other leaders came out. A lot of people didn't want to come out because they feared reprisals. But let me tell you something. We need drug testing for all our citizens because we need good government. We need people who's free of drugs. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do anything of the nature. But I know that's a serious problem. But we need to have a summit, we need to have a meeting, and we need to discuss these issues because anything that affects St. Clair County affects Belleville and vice versa. So we can put our heads in the sands and say, well, we just got some little isolated problems. This thing's out of hand over there. We got to work together. We got to work with our county board members. We got to work with you, Mayor, and I told you I'm here to work with you, not against you.
All right.
So let's identify these issues. If we need special prosecutors over here to clean that situation, let's have some good government. Let's work together and help the people. And please pass this lady's situation. Okay. Thank you very much.
You have your point. Yes, sir. This is the last one I'm going to allow so we can get to the crux of the meeting, the agenda. Yes, sir. Please give your name.
Good evening. Chris Cox, 990 Livingston Street, Carlisle. I am mindful of the time and your ambitious agenda, so I'll be brief. I want to speak, provide a little additional information for the council tonight in consideration of the Loyalty Ministries request. We're proposing to serve 9 developmentally disabled young people between the age of 17 and 21 who have been removed from their families of origin as a result of abuse and neglect, and they've grown up in the child welfare system. We're identifying we're going to have a 4-to-1 ratio. We'll have 1 staff for every 4 clients we serve, which is around-the-clock supervision. We also clearly identify that the structure of the property as spoken to tonight provides us the opportunity not to have to park cars on the street. It does have a 4-car garage, which you've already heard about in the mansion, I guess, as well as parking spots in the back. We appreciate your consideration. We're also very appreciative of our neighbors. We commit that we will be a part of the neighborhood. We will find ways to be able to serve the entire neighborhood and do that in a way in which this community will find honor and privilege in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, council, we're going to give you about 4 minutes, but we got to get on to the. I'm going to give a 4-minute recess, but we got to go. We got to go quickly. Don't stop and chat. Get your business done and come right back. Please.
Okay.
I don't know. They both called themselves. They sent you a text while you were out on the road. Something was something wrong. Yeah, I sent you a text asking if there was something wrong. They both called me and one and left a message. Both called. And within 5 minutes, and they asked, oh, I don't know. I didn't answer the call. Just going to go. They didn't leave messages. But generally, this time of night, they're calling it something. Or he would have called me. I would think that it could be something that just didn't count. Yeah, it could be. I got one in Africa. I was seriously halfway through the trip. Also for the inbound loads, we have white calls.
Yeah. I know, it's fine. I get that. It's fine. It's fine. No big surprise there, right? So I had to go get it.
We want to check.
Because I couldn't wait. I know. I can't even see the video. But I can't even find it.
That's not good. Okay, I appreciate it. No, I'm concerned. Both of them calling. Okay, well, that's not good.
They last
He's not aware of it. He's going to call them, try to send a picture. We have. He didn't leave a message, so I'm going to get him. I think it's like, I have no idea.
Everybody was very cordial, and a lot of true concerns were expressed this evening, and that's healthy. Okay, we are now into the regular part of the, we have no public hearing this evening. I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting held July 1st, 2013. Do I hear a motion? Motion by Alderman Heisler, second by Alderman Arlen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Claims, payroll, disbursements.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion. Pay the claims, payroll, disbursements, so moved.
Motion by Alderman Heisler. Do I hear a second by Alderman Consilla? Do I hear any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, can I ask how close we are working towards having central purchasing?
It's not something that's going to happen in this fiscal year. We're going to have to talk about it. I would suggest that you get that information, your request to the finance director, and when we start the budgeting process, because there's going to have to be money budgeted to work towards that. We've talked about it.
I don't understand where there has to be money.
Well, I think if,
follow our own ordinance.
well, why don't you talk to Jamie and I, and we can talk about implementing that. But it's not going to be something that's going to be done midstream, I don't believe, in the middle of this fiscal year. And before we know it, we're going to blink and we're going to be at the halfway part of this fiscal year. So, we have a motion, we have a second to approve the approve the claims payroll disbursements. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. Reports. Zoning Board of Appeals Advisory Report, case 25, April 13. Curley requesting a use variance. I should let you read this.
Oh, that's okay.
Go ahead.
Requesting a use variance in order to utilize 306 and 314 North Jackson as a venue space for special events located in the A1 Single Family Zoning District.
Emily, do we have the result? What was the zoning board's decision on this?
The zoning board back in April unanimously voted to deny the request. It was tabled for some period because Emily was on.
Okay, that's what I thought. This was a situation where she was at her request, we tabled it. Yes, sir.
I move we deny this request.
Motion by Alderman Kinsella. Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second to deny?
Second.
We have a second by Alderman Musgrove. Discussion.
I asked you earlier if there was a way that we could send this back to zoning, given that they have come forward with more information and contracts that were not available when this was at zoning before.
You want to send it back to zoning, or you just want more time to be able to digest the information? I mean, it's
Well, both, honestly. But I also think it's only fair to the neighbors that some of their concerns have been addressed by these contracts, which they have not had a privilege to look at.
Emily, procedure?
I guess my question would be for Darren as to whether or not we can send this back without any application. We're going to re-advertise for it.
Well, there's two options. One's rooted in the statute. You have the ability under section 11-13-10 to refer it back to zoning, to the Zoning Board of Appeals for further consideration, or the option under the ordinances is the applicant can withdraw the application and refile the application and submit the additional information. Those are the two ways you get that you would allow the zoning board to consider that information. The second is the one that's really rooted in your ordinances. If it's withdrawn before the city council votes on it, they have the ability to refile it immediately and go through the process again. If it's acted upon, then you can, and it's denied, they cannot refile the application for 6 months.
Okay, so I would ask the gentleman who made the motion how they see it.
I honestly say that I don't care what that contract says. I mean, it's whether we're going to allow them to do that in that single-family area, and I don't think somebody handing me a contract makes a particular difference. I mean, I'm sorry, but the contract doesn't necessarily prove that whether there's going to be a parking problem or prove that the people living on that street don't want it. To me, I don't see why we're postponing. I think we should vote and get it over with. But did anybody have any strong feelings one way or the other?
Was it Mr. Westbrook that seconded?
Yes. I seconded it.
We have a motion on the floor to deny.
Okay, can I, but even if it is denied by council, does the applicant have still the option to come back in 6 months before zoning?
They have to wait 6 months to refile an application.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they have that opportunity after 6 months. That's the law. If anybody else have a question? Okay. Okay, we have a roll call vote. Now, let's make sure. An aye vote is to deny. Okay?
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
No.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson. Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
No.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Okay. The aye votes have it. The case is denied. Going on to the next case.
Case number 34, June 13th, Marie Warner, requesting a use variance in order to operate an in-home daycare at 300 South Church Street for 1 year, then converted for use as only a daycare facility.
Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make sure.
Hold it. You're not recognized. I looked over here. Mr. Cybers from the ward. We have, okay, I'm sorry, motion to. We have a motion by Alderman Cybers, second by Alderman White. They're of the ward. Comments, questions?
Yes, I'm an alderman at large.
large so I can vote?
Yes, ma'am, you can. I'm being courteous to those who've been, I know, been involved and, you know, so I'm just being courteous to the way we've done things for years when the aldermen of the ward make a motion. Do you have a comment?
Yes, I do. This is for the attorney. When my name is put on zoning ordinances, they scratch it off. And my name is not put on any of the ordinances that come before zoning, I'm not ordinances, zoning applications, my name is not on any of them, and it should be on all of them if I'm alderman at large.
Yeah, that's something we can look into. I wasn't aware.
Okay.
So,
That's the first I heard of it, Alderman Schneider. You've never said that to me, so I can take care of that with staff.
you don't give me a chance.
You have to tell me before I can deny it. I just need to know. Okay, yes, ma'am.
As a question for our attorney, I think the residents made a good point about the home was obtained through the building program. Are you aware, were there any strings attached?
I checked on that, and they had met the requirements that I inquired about with the 201s program. That was one of my questions I raised when Mrs. Werner came in to see me. In the meantime, I had checked through the program, and that those limitations had been met.
Thank you.
So it was one of the questions I had. Alderman Hayden.
Yes, Your Honor. A couple points. First of all, duly noted that both the aldermen of Ward 6 seem to support it. Questions have been raised in relation to the president of the city council in relation to issues in single family. We have denied them when there was a large majority of people against it. I have not seen that this evening. As a matter of fact, I've seen, based on the petitions and everything, a large majority of the people within that area actually for it. My companion, Alderman Silsby, isn't here this evening, but you know, we also had in Ward 5, if you recall, Mayor, a similar situation where a gentleman on Lakeshore Drive was running I think it was a cleaning carpet thing, and he wasn't doing anything harm, and he wasn't aware of the laws. And initially, some of the people were against it, but then we sat down and discussed what was going on, and closed a majority of the fears. And since then, I've seen that business is in operation, and we haven't heard a problem out of it yet. So, with those things in mind, I just, as I normally do when we get to controversial issues, want to state why I'm going to support this issue tonight.
And as I stated, I'm a strong proponent of single family. However, you got to take it case by case. One of the comments was that they're very much in an area that's right on the edge that's very mixed use. I think very many good comments were made. And I will tell you, in the 8.5 years I've been mayor, I've not received one comment, one concern, one negative thing about this daycare. So it's not like it's been a trouble spot that's been slipped in there, and I think you have to judge it based on what you heard tonight and based on what you believe. And you have to judge these things even though we follow criteria. There are some situations that do require some special consideration, and you know, this may well be one of them that you need to think about tonight. Any other comments before we take a vote? We have a motion and we have a second to support the request for the daycare. Mr. White.
I just want to reiterate, granting this variance is not going to make any impact on the current use of the neighborhood like he said. And in defense of her not complying with the law, I can say that that's easy to do. I lived in my house for over 6 months without an occupancy permit because I wasn't aware that I needed one. So
every community is different.
Try to correct that.
Right, and that's correct. And I think we're trying to do a better job to tell people what they need. And I think it was a great testimony tonight how many people came out in her favor. We don't normally see that. We don't normally see those numbers of people who stand up, take the time and do that. So we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any other questions by the council before I call for a vote? A yes vote would be to approve this particular variance in her favor. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Rudgewitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
Abstain.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland. Schneider.
Yes.
Motion carries. Granted. Hold this up. The next one.
Case number 35, June 13th, Royalton Ministries requesting a use variance in order to operate a large community residence at 300 North Church Street, located in A1 Single Family Zoning District.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to deny.
We have a motion by Alderman Holt to deny. Do I hear a second?
Second one.
We have a motion by Alderman Holt, second by Alderman Heister to deny the request from Royalton. Do we hear discussion? Ken?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. A couple of questions here.
Can you pull the mic over a little bit so we can take
Sure. Just a couple of questions, I guess. The use of the facility, could you tell me again who would be the residents?
Yeah, you can come up step, please, sir. You're directly answering questions for the particular case.
The population that would be served would be 17 to 19-year-old development disabled with the average IQ somewhere between 50 and 70, and their average length of stay would be 18 months.
18 months would be the stay?
Yes, sir.
And at the end of the 18 months, then what?
They would then be identified and be eligible to move into an adult CILA, which is an acronym for Community Integrated Living Arrangement. So they transition out of the child welfare system and into the adult system. And then the state of Illinois, through a pass agent, and DHS would be responsible then helping find them that next adult placement, hopefully for that in life state place. Enlarged adults.
In terms of a life state place, would that include job skills? Do they have the opportunity to work?
Most certainly, a big part of our component is we go out and why we identify this location not only is the physical structure ideally located, where it's located in the neighborhood, where it sits well for us, but it's also very close to businesses. A big part of our treatment model would be helping identify opportunities through job coaching to give the young people gainful employment to their skill level.
Describe for me the facility, okay, and how you would control access.
Access, we'll be putting a camera system in. It'll have 24-hour supervision, alarms, and sensors will be on the doors, which most of that's already in place now. Jorge has kept that as a result of the previous use of the Don Bosco Center. Obviously, it has a fence on the northern part of the property line, and as a result of the garage, it really leaves a courtyard in the area for program area.
So it's really designed to help protect them from injuring themselves or others by leaving unexpectedly.
That's correct.
Next question. Anyone else with a question for?
I'd like Mr. Hayden, I feel obligated to publicly state that I in no way am against Royalton Ministries. I think they have a very admirable thing here. I just have to support the neighbors who feel it is a bad fit for this building. That is my only objection, is the location, not the type of ministry they're doing.
I would concur with that.
Okay.
What was used before Don Bosco?
It was actually built in 1955 as a convent, obviously for educational purposes for St. Luke's. I believe at one time they had a school just to the south of the property. So the useful life of the property for all but 4 years has actually been for a group living situation. It has 7 bedrooms on one level, very small bedrooms, but it's ideally located, situated and built for that particular purpose.
Do we know how many years Don Bosco was there?
They were there 14 years, Mayor.
And I don't believe, I never heard during that time that the neighbors ever had a problem with Don Bosco. I don't believe there ever was.
Different type of clientele. They were abused and they were restricted, so there weren't parental visits or anything encouraged.
Alderman Musgrove.
How many would be in there? How many?
A total of maximum would be 8. We'd actually, if indeed we move forward, we'd actually start with 4, and then over the course of the first 12 months, we'd move up to an occupancy of 8. That's what we'd be licensed for, is 8.
I'm sorry, Musgrove.
What types of disabilities are we talking about?
Mental disability, sir. They'd be physically handicapped, they'd be mentally handicapped. They have a low IQ in the range of 50 to 70.
Alderman Mason, you had a question?
When
would be the difference between the kids that were in Don Bosco and these children?
First of all, would be their functioning. The young people that we'd be serving would be lower IQ'd. And secondly, we'd be serving the 17 to 21-year-old, and they were serving, I think, 9 to 13. I don't know their exact age range, but in that range.
And this is all male?
We're actually looking at this point in time, we're having a co-ed, and that's why we're required to have the 24-hour supervision and camera system.
Is it all fenced in, or, I mean,
The
can
courtyard.
they get out if, let's say they run out the courtyard, is there any way they can get out without the supervisors, the guardians, or whatever you call them, watching them?
Staff man would be required to be with them, and the courtyard is enclosed on all areas, obviously the physical structure on the east and south.
Guess what I'm saying, is there any way they can sneak out, let's say the staff is talking to another one, because one sneak out and get away without an alarm going off?
When they're in the building, no, ma'am.
But outside they're.
No, but staff would be with them, so we'd be, our protocols are that we physically follow after with them and bring them back.
And are they, when you say mentally handicapped, could there be any violence with that?
I
Or
want to be very clear, our program plan, we're actually looking for young people who's grown up in the child welfare system, and we've, the state's identified they're ready to be stepped back down to less care, so they've been in the system a long time, and these are identified as the individuals who deserve to be back in the community. So we wouldn't, juvenile sex offenders wouldn't be a population we'd serve, any fire setters, any physical aggression, those who have criminal backgrounds wouldn't be ones that would fit our treatment model.
I guess it would be something like what the SAVE site has when they have some of the mentally handicapped people.
I'm only slightly familiar with SAVE, ma'am, and I know they deal, I think they deal with the adult side from that 21 on.
Yes.
So our young people could theoretically have the opportunity to be able to graduate and complete our program and move into that program.
Any other questions for Chris?
Would you like to pick up Mike?
I'm sorry?
Okay, we have a motion to deny and a second. No further discussion. The aye vote will be to deny. I call for the roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
No.
Halt.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
No.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
No.
Davidson.
No.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
No.
Galletti.
No.
Musgrove.
No.
Orland.
No.
Schneider.
No.
Well, the no votes have it, so the request to deny was defeated. I would now ask for a motion, correct? If someone's willing to make a motion to approve the request.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Kinsella, second by Alderman, what's your name? Anthony. A long evening. I'm getting name tags one of these days, I'm telling you. We have a motion and a second to approve the request by Hoyleton for the zoning variance. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to remind my fellow aldermen that almost 100 of the neighbors signed a petition asking you not to do this. They worked very hard to change this to single family. I know some of you may think, well, that building is only appropriate for one thing, but the reality is the family just moved out of it. In my neighborhood, it is not unusual to have big buildings. My home had 3 kitchens when I moved in. It became single family. It is not going to just sit there and be abandoned. But the neighbors have come and respectfully ask you to stick to single family like they worked hard to get it, and I ask you to honor that.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I would like to say something, just to, and I recognize the residents of that area, but at one time, it dealt none. I mean, that area is, but my point is here is that Hoyleton is top-notch. I worked with them a lot of times in the prison industry. They are top-notch. They do everything for the right reason. They're not a fly-by-night. They're not pity-Annie. They are a good, honest organization. They're nonprofit, and what they do is good.
Oh, there's no argument at all. I support their ministry. It is the objection is the place is solely the objection.
We have a motion and we have a second to approve the variance. Emily, I got one quick question before I call for the vote. How did the zoning board, how would it?
Zoning board recommended to approve it unanimously.
They approved it, the zoning board approved it unanimously to approve. Okay, I thought I read that, but I want to make sure I had that correct. Okay, roll call.
Heisler.
No.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
No.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall.
No.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
No.
Seibert.
No.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland.
Aye.
Schneider.
Ayes have it. Next item, item number 36 of the zoning case.
Case 36, June 13th, Cross Haven Church requesting a use variance in order to operate a church at 1406 West Main Street in the C2 heavy commercial zoning district.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman Hayes, do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Schneider, do I hear discussion? Last year was Harold Smith, and it was some kind of little dollar store. Alderman Randall.
Yes, sir, thank you. We have a representative here for this application.
Yes.
How many people in the congregation?
We currently have about 50 regular community members. We have a lot of families from Scott in that area, so we're up and down. Right now we're down 50 to 60.
Okay, so how many would you say are local?
We actually have a lot of families that come from other communities in the Metro East. So are you asking?
So how many parking places do you have there?
There are currently 17 parking spaces on the lot, and per the
Plus one
requirement,
handicap?
I'm included the handicap. So per the requirement for a number of parking spaces per number of chairs in a seated area, we meet the requirement for whatever the building would have in terms of occupancy permitted. It's not a large building. We won't exceed what the parking spaces offer. It's a big lot.
And, I'm sorry, before we go on, can you give your name?
My name is Chris Oswald, pastor at Cross Haven Church, live on 525 East Washington.
Okay. And who currently owns this building?
Todd Evers, and I think he's owned it for some time. He was the one that actually opened the dollar store.
Yeah, he owned Harold Smith, Kent.
Yeah, and when prior was
So
the
this has no
pharmacy.
impact in terms of property taxes to the city?
No, no, that was all settled, and he settled with us as far as the work he did that we had helped him out earlier. That was all taken care of.
So you would be leasing the property?
Correct.
Okay, Alderman Schneider?
Yeah, there's a correction. You said Schneider seconded
On
on this, the church.
No.
Yes.
I did say,
Yeah, I heard it. Hayden.
no, I looked at, I'm sorry, it was Alderman Seibert. Maybe Seibert Schneider, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I might have slurred, I apologize, but it's Alderman Seibert. Paul Seibert.
The bottom line,
The guy there with all the hair.
bottom line, Your Honor, nobody from Ward 5, nobody from their constituents. Obviously, we would love to have a business there, but we would certainly love to have a church than a vacant building. And Alderman Silsby, from my discussion with him previously, we have no qualms.
He and I had that same discussion, and seen this guy for a while. He's been, they've done some good things.
Around.
Yeah. So, any other questions? We have a motion, we have a second to approve. Since we've had all the rest of them, I might as well be consistent. Give us a roll call vote.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert. White. Galletti.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. If there's no objection, I'm going to put the next two together and ask for a joint motion to approve the housing report of cash receipts to date for fiscal year 2013-14 and the treasurer's report, City of Belleville funds and statement of cash and investments for June 2013. Do I hear a motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Seibert. I have a discussion. All in favor of approving these two and having them filed signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Oral reports. I ask for a motion To authorize the mayor to sign a letter of support for Gardner Development. Do I hear a motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler. Do I hear a second?
Second, Your Honor.
Second by Alderman Anthony. Do I hear discussion? Alderman Hayden.
Yes, Your Honor. I assume reading this draft letter, this is the same type of letter that you had to send in support of the capstone development on South Jackson. And
It's similar to that of the cottages we had to send for St. Cathedral and the type of thing, same type of thing.
Okay.
City attorney has looked at the letter.
Okay. Seen their presentation. I think they're trying to do a noble thing. But the bottom line is, and no offense to these people, but I think we have quite a bit of good housing in the city of Belleville at good rates that have a lot of for sale signs sitting out in front of it. We need to try to fill that first. That's my comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I concur with him, and we have enough rental property. We don't really need any more, and if it's not going to the people that's gonna buy the houses right away, it's not gonna work out to be a good deal. You're gonna have more foreclosures, you're gonna have empty houses, and coming to the light that is all mine subsidence under there. We had problems when that's all mines out there, because when we built for Walmart, we had to pump concrete in order to.
We didn't, they did.
Concrete had to be pumped in. We had a school that we just had to have the school district had to have tore down. That whole area is nothing but mine subsidence, and I just can't see us. And what really has me concerned is the letter was already drafted before it came before council.
If I did, you'd want to know what the letter was going to look like, so we
Right,
sent.
that was a request from the planning commission.
Yeah. So we.
We have enough rental property, it's not a good thing.
You certainly can have your vote. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I have a concern about the lot size. It's well under what we put as our minimum.
What is it, Emily?
Yeah, I can probably address that. The lot sizes here, I believe, were in the range of 7,500 square feet to maybe 8,000. It was one of the subdivisions that was exempted from that requirement when we passed the 10,000 square foot lot size. There were a number of subdivisions passed during a certain period of time that were exempt from that requirement. Notably, the new ones that kind of happened during the building boom, they didn't meet that 10,000 requirement.
So it was platted beforehand, what you're saying?
That wasn't a request by us. We were working with the existing plot. We were trying to find.
Okay, and that answers my question, why that happened. Yes, ma'am.
But hasn't it been more than a year or two since it was plotted like that? Because I know they were gonna put a work farm out there, so it should.
Yeah, I believe the ordinance states that if the minimum lot size was 10,000 square feet, except those subdivisions that were preliminary platted between this year and that year. I don't recall the year.
Has this land changed hands?
No.
No.
Well, who is the owner?
Homestead.
Homestead Development, I have to go back to the records, I can't.
Where were they when they were out there plowing it for that farm?
Well, we talked with the owner over
Well, we
time,
stopped.
and we dealt with it, and we
Yeah.
stopped them. I don't
We
know
stopped.
what the intent was.
Anyone else?
One of these, the planning commission says one of the aldermen was gonna go and see one of the completed projects. Did anybody have the opportunity to do that?
It wasn't one of the aldermen, it was one of the members.
It's a staff member or alderman.
Yeah, I just, with that short, with only having last week and that short notice, Eric was on vacation last week, I could not make it.
And I also noted the residents' concern about the runoff. You can't, are we gonna?
But that's, but that's something that would be, no matter what, if they were gonna put $400,000 homes in there hypothetically, that issue has to be addressed by anyone who comes to develop that property.
Right now, part of the infrastructure is in, they're gonna need to submit improvement plans for the remaining sanitary sewer and lift station to be installed, and the other utilities, the roadways. So we'll need plans on all that, which will involve drainage studies, engineering studies, and then they'll also have to submit a final plat under our process. We've also talked about the potential of land unit development, which would require this to go through zoning,
Alderman Schneider?
I'm just really concerned about what it's gonna end up costing the city. We can take on a project saying, oh, it's only gonna cost this much, and it ends up costing 3-4 times the amount. So what's it going to cost the city to do this? I mean, are they going, it always
I'll let the
is.
lady here who represents them answer that question.
We haven't asked for anything from the city. I've been very upfront coming to the different departments and commissions prior to this that we've not asked for a waiver of permits or tap fees or anything. As a matter of fact, that's why we picked that piece as opposed to the unincorporated pieces in front of it was we were going to put the housing in, and we're very community minded and wanted to give those to the city. We haven't asked for any waivers for anything from the city.
The only thing they're asking for right now, let me reiterate, is a letter of support that they can move forward to attempt to try to get funding.
Compete for financing that is construction financing that goes to 600 hard cost of the construction. It's not long-term subsidy or anything like that. It's construction financing that we're competing for.
But it's the idea it's gonna be rental, and then if they aren't sold, it's gonna stay rental, then it's just the idea of rental, and it isn't even the 10,000 square foot that we're supposed to have for a lot.
Well, the way the zoning is, though, keep in mind, Alderman Schneider, if somebody comes in tomorrow with the plat and with the zoning we have, and wants to put in a subdivision that, and I have not gone to visit these, but from what the things I looked at in my office up close, I've seen the sketches here look pretty good compared to some of the lower end subdivisions that hypothetically could go in there and we'd have very little to say to hold it back. So
But if they can make the lot, we can say the lots have.
no, if this is all true, I believe Emily's to be correct, we approved this plat before we changed our 10,000 square foot. So I believe that if that's.
I haven't seen what you approved, but.
I can get it to vote.
But you feel very confident that's what we looked at.
Is this grandfathered in?
Yeah, it would, if it was approved, if this plat was approved, which I know Emily's on top of this stuff, before we changed our ordinance, then that particular plat of ground follows what we had for years before.
And there's discussion of this coming back as a planned unit development anyway, which would allow for us to,
Have a lot more input.
well, would allow for us to permit them to build houses on lots that don't necessarily meet our minimum size, if we chose to, under the planned unit development. And planned unit development is kind of a give and take of.
That's a good point. I think the city attorney just made a real good point, though. We're approving potentially here a letter of endorsement to allow them to apply for financing. It's still subject to all the city's ordinances. There's nothing that, this is going to come back, there's still plenty of opportunity to scrutinize this and to have the checks and balances. All we're asking tonight is that we allow them to apply, stating that the city of Belleville is aware and that we're not against them applying for the funding. This doesn't give them the green light to go ahead and start building next week. Yes, ma'am.
If the lots are grandfathered in, how come the residents that's lived in this town for many, many years, longer than what that plot is out there, how come their lots aren't grandfathered in? Because if they have a house fire or something, they have to go before zoning, get approval. It should be automatically grandfathered in then. We have a household.
I can send the ordinance. I'm happy to send the ordinance to you so you can read it.
And we'll make sure we get it for Garrett, and we'll have that clarified. But once again, folks, there's a lot of time for those questions. This tonight is only to allow them to try. This is not guaranteed that they're moving this project forward.
One follow. Again, I totally understand this. This is just basically granting you approval to write the letter, to give them a chance to apply and qualify. The questions for the council right now is, do we see a need for this type of housing and development? And as I've read through the contract, that it's going to be 15 years rental. After 15 years, people have a right to buy it. I've read the planning commission minutes where the questions were raised as to what quality or state would those houses be within 15 years. The discussion was raised as it relates to potentiality with the military. I don't know, I can't speak for them, but you know, I think our officers are not going to be wanting to you know, rent a house. They're going to be looking to buy a house that they're going to be staying in the area. And those that are going to be coming into this area, they may want to rent something like that, but they're certainly, if they're looking to invest, I don't know if they could even proclaim themselves to be able to be here for 15 years. So those are the concerns that are before the council that I see. And the question is, you know, do we, you know, want to approve this as more affordable housing? And I go back to my initial statement, and that is, I believe that we have a lot of vacant affordable housing in the city of Belleville right now. You just need to drive around and look at the for sale signs to find it.
Okay. Alderman White.
I was just planning, and there's two things I'd like you just to talk about very briefly, because I think it might impact at least the train of thought. That was the 15-year requirement. During that period of time, you're going to have on site very stringent management, more stringent by covenants. And in order to purchase that house, you don't have to have rented it for 15 years. You just have to be in there for, I think you said, a year.
That is correct. Actually, you just have to be in there on the day that it's eligible to be sold. Yes.
And last of all, the discount that would be given to those people to buy the houses, even if they were just in there for the final part. I'd just like you to bring that up for consideration so the council understands that part of it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. One of the things that we did talk about is that this is just one economic development tool, that this isn't, you know, the only economic development tool to build it out to, you know, one of the things I was talking in the hallway with some of the, you know, neighborhoods on the surrounding sites was that, you know, this can be sold out right now to individual, you know, developers that are all going in and building, you know, 15 different discombobulated homes and styles and renting those out, and they have different renters and things. That this is one economic development tool that gives you immediate housing, and in return for the construction money that we're competing for, we do agree to own it, manage it, and maintain it. There's strict things with the state agency and how much money we have to escrow for replacement reserves that they can control to make sure ongoing maintenance is addressed. And it's one tool that gives you the immediate opportunity for housing, built out in a contiguous area that we can control and enforce because we own all 44 lots. And long term, then we have the ability to slowly transition that back. At the time that we're able to sell it, so basically that's when we make our money. We're getting this money up front to help with the construction costs. We don't make our money as a developer. We're a for-profit private developer. We don't make our money until year 15 when we sell those. So we have a very vested interest in making sure that we're using sustainable quality housing so that there is a value in 15 years. And the way that we do that at the year 15 mark is we appraise the home. It's based on current market value, and then we give them a credit, basically a home down homeowners, buyers, down payment assistance credit on that settlement statement. So it's being appraised, sold for market value to sustain the market values, and it can be up to 40% off of the value of the home. So that home appraises, let's say these are $175,000 houses now, and the market falls apart even worse, and in year 15 they're only worth $100,000, that's still a $40,000 down payment assistance to someone that really isn't available for every single person out there. The neighbors that I was talking to in the hall said that the homes in those surrounding neighborhoods are leasing for $1,000. So there is housing there and available, but there's not necessarily affordable housing. We are targeting working class, people that have jobs.
I think do we have a refreshment? Do we have a
Take the microphone.
We have a motion to approve?
Right.
Motion to approve, who seconded it? Okay, I remember now. I'm back. Okay, we have a motion to approve. If there's no further questions.
Where exactly is the management? You're only putting in 44 homes. Are you designating one of them as the management? That's a pretty big percentage of the profit.
No, we would look to put in a management office on one of the lots that would have, that was when we talked about the different things in doing it under a PUD. And that's at our, we prefer to have an on-site management office. That gives us daily presence on the property. But that is something that we would work through. Instead of using existing zoning where we have no requirements, we offered and suggested doing it under a PUD.
And understand everybody, if it's a PUD, there's a lot of process that has to be done.
Exactly.
So that's another lot of checks and balances.
Your company has been in existence for 16 years.
This developer, our first housing project, they've been in existence longer than that, but our first housing project under this program was 16 years ago.
Okay, and how much over, the same owners from the beginning?
Mm-hmm. We own every single property that we've ever built.
Okay, Alderman Seibert, then we're going to vote. Starting out.
We don't need any more.
Call for the question. We don't
We have
need
a
any more
vote.
rounds.
Okay. If you listen, I'm going to call for the vote. Okay? We have a motion and we have a second to approve the request to allow the mayor, on behalf of the city, to write the letter of support so that they can just start the first phase of this process, the funding. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
No.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
No.
Hayden.
No.
Seibert.
No.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
No.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland.
No.
Schneider.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A tie vote, I will vote aye, let them get their application, and let, we got plenty of checks and balances as we go down the road. So it passes to go on to, for this, just for them to apply. Okay, moving down to the next item. Alderman Silsby's not here, do I hear a motion to approve, on behalf of the Finance Committee, to approve the modification to the library contract with EWR and Associates?
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Seibert, do I hear discussion?
Could you just give a brief overview?
The brief overview is, as everybody knows, we were fortunate enough, Leander, you want to stand up? Brief is the key word.
I will be very brief. This is a modification to the contract you approved for the architect fees several months ago. The reason for the modification is because we've been awarded approximately $600,000 in state grant money, which has drastically increased our scope of work. So our architectural fees have increased, and this is a modification to adjust the architectural fees.
Answer that question there.
Yeah, what else are you going to be able to do since you've got a bigger home video works?
A new roof, complete the tuck point and restore the entire exterior of the building, new shelving, new furniture, new carpet, new paint, pretty much doing a complete and total gut rehab of the library. We're not doing any structural work other than the exterior tuck pointing, but completely redoing the entire interior and exterior.
Thank you.
All the funding's coming from this grant, no more additional.
Well, just the tip that's in the budget as was originally was the match or whatever we're talking about, what we originally had.
We're not adding any.
There's nothing additional, Jamie, than what we had in the budget. Correct.
No, the funding is $592 coming from $592,000 from the state, $219 from TIF, $128 from private donations.
Okay? So we have a motion and a second to approve the change, I guess basically it's a change order with the contract of EWR, correct?
Correct.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt. Sorry, Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. Alderman Heisler.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to make the following three motions on behalf of the Master Sewer Committee. To make the following three motions separately and
Well, is there a problem if we read them together, everyone? Proceed as a group.
Read them as a group.
Go ahead.
First motion, to approve a contract not to exceed $18,656.25 from Siemens Industries Incorporated
to include chemicals and equipment for odor control at the Bell Valley Lift Station. Motion number 2, to approve the long-term control plan phase in change order number 4 to Hair Plumbing and Heating in the amount of $38,000. Third motion, to approve hiring an additional laborer for the sewer line department. So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
We have a motion by Alderman Heister, second by Alderman Hayden to approve those 3 motions coming from the Master Sewer Committee. Any questions? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella. Holt.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall. Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden. Seibert. White. Galletti. Musgrove. Orland. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion's carried. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to support my application for membership on the Illinois Municipal League Board of Directors. Do I hear a motion?
Second, Your
Motion by
Honor.
Alderman Seibert, second by Alderman Heister. Any discussion?
Very cost, or is it just a?
It's the, you know what, I don't have any idea totally, but it's, I don't have a plan to be any cost. I would have to say I would plan to pick up. I go annually, the one meeting I go to now is in my budget for the annual conference, which would be the same. Other than that, any other meetings, I would have to say I would plan to pick up. There's 3 other meetings a year.
And
And it's not always in Chicago. The other
big
meetings.
meeting?
The big meeting, but not
Right,
the
but
other
most of
meetings
the-
I would be required to go to.
Right,
And I've been asked by, I've been nominated by Gary Graham, former Mayor Nieberger of Edwardsville, Mike Buellhorn, and Gail Mitchell to go on to board representing Southern Illinois. Okay?
And, can I take this moment to encourage my fellow aldermen to attend that convention in Chicago? It's a lot of excellent information.
I don't disagree. We've cut back on the budget only because of money and scrutiny from the public in general, but if he can go, I've paid it many years out of my own pocket, but now that I've been the chief executive officer, I've gone every year because it's been very much a learning experience. We have a motion, we have a second, right? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert. White. Galletti. Musgrove. Orland. Schneider.
Motion carries. We move on. Motion to officially adopt the 200th anniversary logo for the next 6 to 18 months while we celebrate our bicentennial and while we continue to develop our new logo and marketing campaign. This would give us a chance to promote this. I'm holding up here, it was made. This is one of the items we're going to be selling in the store, but this is the anniversary logo that the committee we have adopted. We would like to use this on stationery and letterhead. We don't have an exact time frame. We're still working, as you know, with Toki. This would start off on the webpage. The campaign that we want to do is just taking time to put together a new, fresh look for the city of the future. But the more we got talking, many of the staff, this is really where we're at the next year, 6 months to 18 months, is we're celebrating our 200th. So we feel we have a very viable logo to start off. In fact, would you, Sharon, you want to pass these out for me? Can I ask you to? Sharon pulled these up. This would show how it would look on the front page of the web page for now. Now, we may come back to you in less than a year and say, we're ready to propel forward with a new marketing strategy, but we've got a lot of work to do yet before we bring that to
Motion
you.
to adopt and approve the logo.
We have a motion. I agree. Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear.
Second.
We have a motion by Hayden. Who was the second?
Galletti.
Galletti. Discussion, you have more?
No, I like this very much. I just want to hear a little bit more about where we are.
Well, Toki's got, we, by our own request, because of changes with the webpage, etc., we've stopped and started these people, and so we can't hold them to the exact agreement we had because we slowed them down or tried to speed them, whatever, because of the webpage, etc.
Well, where's the webpage? Where are we?
Well, Sharon, I think will tell you, we're getting ready to launch tentatively, Sharon, August what?
Probably the latest we launch would be August 18th. I'm checking their schedule right now. They've been very generous with their time and very patient with us while we've been pulling together our ideas with the logo and the microphone
And so they're trying to fit us into a niche. It could be anywhere between the 8th or the 18th of August.
So that's an update on the webpage, this would be at the look kicking it off, but understanding Toki's trying to work with us and ultimately with Civic Plus to put the new look there when we get ready. But my comment was, and I think everybody in the staff who we agreed with me, I don't want to ooze out the campaign. I want to, when we're ready, we want to make a big splash. And that's why we all decided that this made sense to take advantage of our 200. So that's where we're here tonight. So we have a motion, we have a second, correct?
That's right.
Is the website still going to be Belleville.net?
Yes.
It'll just take over?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. Alderman Arlett, your turn.
I will make a motion on behalf of the traffic committee to create a stop sign on Terry Lane at Stevens Street.
Second. Motion by Alderman Arlett, second by Alderman Hayden. Discussion.
This is just a one-way, it's not a three-way, it's just where Terry hits Stevens.
Yes.
Right. Okay, we have a motion to to have the proper ordinance drawn for the next meeting and have a stop sign created at the intersection of Terry Lane and Stevens. All in favor of this motion to have the proper ordinance drawn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Seibert.
Yes, I have 6 motions. I'd like to make 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 as a group and keep numbers 3 out.
1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. Is there any objection to that?
Motion to approve William Brubaker for general construction services in the amount of $36.50 per hour. Motion to approve the lowest responsible bidder for Juanita Place with tank excavating $448,401.23. Motion to approve the low bidder Keely and Sons in the amount of $376,293.06 for general asphalt patch. A motion to approve the parking lot layout for Beatty and North High Street. And a motion to approve starting negotiations with Gonzalez Hansen for the Archer's drainage study. So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Seibert, second by Alderman White. Do I hear discussion? Roll call on those motions.
Couple quick statement questions.
Okay.
One, I did ask in the Streets and Grades Committee question, and noted in the record that this parking lot in item 5 is laid out per city ordinance, because that was one of the questions that I asked. The other question that has come up, the lighting, Tim, is the lighting figured in on this? Is there any cost or?
The lighting is going to stay in the same location. So there is no new lighting coming in here. We're going to keep the existing lighting.
And that will be acceptable with the reconfigurations with the parking?
Yes, yes.
So are they taking it down and paving around it, or just leaving it there and working?
Well, this is where the landscape islands are going around. We're going to take them around the light poles.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second to approve under G, page 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Alderman Seibert.
Number 3, a motion to approve the low bidder Galvin Construction in the amount of $15,484 for dumpster enclosure located at Church and A Street. The city owned lot.
We have a motion by Alderman Seibert. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Kinsella. Discussion.
Now,
Start Alderman Hayden.
yeah, I voted for this, Your Honor, in committee. for several reasons. One, because we only got one bid, as we discussed further in committee, and certainly no fault or offense by the city engineer, but he placed qualifying restrictions on the bid that, and further thinking, in my opinion, Your Honor, probably prohibited other people from being interested in bidding. I understand fully, and I full faith and confidence in the estimate by the city engineer, that it's under the 20,000 estimate, but this is $15,000 that I think that there's quite a bit of small businesses in the city of Belleville, if they had a chance and didn't have to go through this qualifying thing, that would be interested in doing this job. There's businesses in the city of Belleville that are doing this job to feed their family for 4 or 5 months in today's economy, and I think that it should have been open up for rebid to people. There was a question raised in the committee, Your Honor, about the standards of qualifications. Well, it's very simple. If they don't meet the qualifications, they don't get paid. But I think that this is a lot of money for this type of work, that there's a lot of small businesses in this city. If they did have to go through those qualifying standards, would have been able to do
Mr. Hayden,
it.
do you know, though, do you know what particular standards that the IDOT standards that we follow you would like to avoid?
I'm talking about the particulars
Well,
of
we
it.
follow basically the IDOT standards.
This is he did pre-qualifying as if we were bidding on McClintock Road. And this is a dumpster in a parking lot, Your Honor. I mean, come on.
Okay, but you know, whether you're using $15,000 of taxpayers' money or $115,000, we want quality.
No doubt about it. But we set our standards of quality with the bid. But when you put pre-qualifications in there, that's going to shy people away that are small business, don't you? So you're saying small businesses wouldn't be able to do quality work in the city of Belleville?
I'm not saying that, but...
Well, then don't be making references that you're trying to say that I'm saying something either.
Alderman Schneider.
Yes, I was the one that made the motion to not approve that upstairs. And I think it needs to go back for bidding and release, or make the qualifications that they don't have to be IDOT approved. We're not building a road. I mean, there are a lot of other contractors that maybe would have liked this job, but they're not IDOT approved because of having to build roads and that.
It was a capital development board, which is for buildings.
It's for building. And understand, this thing originally came about...
And we're paying for these businesses to have a dumpster enclosure. We're giving them, or letting them use the city property as it is without charging them rent or anything for the space. So I think they could at least build their own dumpster enclosure.
Okay, but let's go back to what we talked about in committee for a minute, for the rest of the council's sake. These few businesses do not have basically a square inch of property of their own to put a dumpster. Our downtown is very unique. We have some businesses who have an area that they have for a dumpster, but many of them, and these are 4 of them right in a row, we have been allowing these dumpsters to be in this parking lot for probably the last 20 years, but our fire chief has been on me, and we've had discussions with staff for the last year or two that we need to tighten the requirements here or do something, because these businesses, thank goodness, are getting busier. There's more and more cardboard out there. There's more and more trash, and that dumpster is up against Lisi Lumber Warehouse. Now, he's doing his job and his due diligence and recommending that we build or construct something that's going to give a fire buffer so that when unfortunately somebody might set a dumpster on fire, we're not going to immediately have a fully involved lumber yard. Makes good sense. There's no place, there's no reasonable place to put these dumpsters. We can't close off an alley and stop the deliveries and that we have. We have an old city that has some very, for the lack of being critical to the forefathers, they didn't plan out downtown real well when it came to deliveries and it came to the future. Nobody, at that time they planned it out, though we had horses. So we didn't have a whole lot of trucks and stuff. But the bottom line is, we're trying to encourage small business. We've got them to work together. They've contracted one dumpster service. We're looking at safety and we're looking at aesthetics. Now, we can't do this everywhere, but we have identified this lot and these 4 businesses, and I'm tickled to death that Tavern on Main is there. All these businesses that are part of this group, they are growing, they're reinvesting into those buildings, and it's a great problem. But we're trying to make it safer by enclosing it, and we're trying to make it more aesthetically appealing. Tim's estimate, and I said in committee, Tim's department normally gives us some excellent figures on estimates, and most of the time, he's pretty much right on the number. This estimate, we cannot help that we only got 1 bid. We advertised, we spent the money, we did everything proper, and we only got 1 bidder. And they came in almost $5,000 cheaper than Tim's estimate. So we've done everything we need to do. I know that, yeah, you're always looking out to see if we can do better, but it's going to cost us to re-advertise. We can check, we can go out, but this is something these business owners are very appreciative that we're working with them. And I think it's a way to show them that there's more things that they're trying to do there as far as reinvesting in these businesses and these buildings. Alderman Bolton.
Mr. Mayor, for me, the issue is not how the bidding was done. It is the fact that we are doing a favor for these businesses and we are not doing it for other businesses in exactly the same position. I understand they have no other land to put their own dumpster on, but there are other businesses on Main Street in exactly the same position. We are playing favorites.
No.
Please let me finish. They are in a special service district. You are right, they do tax themselves extra. And yet it is not their money that is paying for it. We are paying for it out of tip 3. We're building them basically a brick building to put their dumpster in. We just redid the parking lot that we charge rent for square footage to put your car on temporarily. They're putting their dumpster on the same kind of square footage, and yet we are not charging them. That is an inconsistent policy.
I respect your comment, but I will tell you, if we want to continue to grow our downtown, we cannot nickel and dime these small businesses when after the recession they've all gone through. We're not
and let's
gonna,
not charge to use our parking lot. That's the argument. We have to be consistent.
Okay, Alderman Hayden.
Yes, Your Honor, and again, I respect that, but if we're going to grow our city, we can't keep nickel and diming the taxpayer. And that's what we're doing with these things. We're not being conscientious of what we're bidding. $15,000. I don't have a problem with they're paying for the dumpster. That's fine. It's our space. We enclose it. But $15,000? I mean, it's a Taj Mahal dumpster.
It meets the standards for fire and safety and the bollards so it doesn't get easily run into. And it's because of the amount of concrete and the product in here that we're going to try to protect it, that it's not...
We need to start asking, Your Honor, and you as Chief Executive, what could we have done better when we get none? In one case, we got no bids on a project that we discussed earlier today, and in this case, one bid. We need to look at why is that happening, because getting 2 and 3 bids is in the taxpayer's best interest.
Alderman Consol.
The problem some people are having with this is the fact that we only have 1 bid. Now, we went out and we advertised it as we should, and we went through the same advertising as if we get 5 or 10 bids, but we only had 1 person bidding. The purpose of having more than 1 bid, most of us realize, is to see whether the one that we're going to end up paying seems reasonable. So that's the purpose of more than 1 bid. But there's also another number in there, and that is the engineer's estimate. So this came out 25% lower than the engineer's estimate. I haven't seen anything this year come out 25% lower than the engineer's estimate. So it tells me pretty well that this is a good price. Now, I also have a problem if we tell this company no and we're going to go out for bids again. Because what we've done is this is public knowledge. Everybody will know what this company's bid is. And I don't even know this Calhoun company. I don't have anything to do with it. Okay? But we would let everybody else know what their bid is, and what the other guy has to do is come in and beat it by a buck. And I have a little bit of a problem with integrity when you're doing something like that. Now, I understand you want more than one bid, but we have the engineer's estimate, and the purpose of that is to give us a guideline. We're 25% below the engineer's estimate. That's a good bid. So I don't think we need multiple bids, folks. Let's be reasonable, and we also have to deal with the people who go out of their way to bid for us and treat them reasonably. Because if we turn this one down, who's going to bid next time? So I think that the thing that we need to do is show some integrity and vote for this.
Okay, so let's go back. We have a motion on the floor. Refresh me.
Yes. Motion, I made. So, second.
You made the motion. You made the motion to approve, and you made the motion. That's okay.
Would you restate it, please?
We have a motion to approve the low bid Calhoun Construction, amount of $15,484 for a dumpster enclosure located at Church and Hay Street on the city-owned parking lot. Jamie, it says TIF 3, but isn't that TIF 17? Is it? Okay, I wasn't sure. You're the expert there. Okay, but it's TIF. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. We've had discussion. Roll call. And I vote approves this bid.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
No.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
No.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
No.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland.
No.
Schneider.
No. No. Sorry.
Okay, the ayes have it, 9 to 5. Okay, we move on. Communications. You want to do communications, please?
Sure. Motion to approve a request from the Children's Dyslexia Center to hold their walk on October 19, 2013, from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m., starting and ending at the Scottish Rite on Frank Scott Parkway.
Is there a problem if we read them together?
Read them all.
Okay. Motion to approve, this is B, motion to approve a request from ChiroMed to hold their 4th annual ChiroMed Luau 5K and the 2nd annual Main Street Mile on January 25th, 2014, starting and ending at Lindenwood University, including barricades, cones, city employees, and 2 police officers. They will pay all expenses. C, motion to approve a request from St. Clair County Bar Association to hold their 12th annual Law Day Run on May 3rd, 2014, starting at 9 a.m., including temporary road closures, police protection, street department assistance, etc. D, motion to approve a request from the Pleasant Hill Neighborhood Watch to hold Pleasant Hill Volks March, September 28, 2013, from 7:30 a.m. until noon, through historic West Belleville towards the square.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion by Alderman Seibert. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Anthony. All in favor of approving these 4 requests as just read by the clerk, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Petitions, we have none. Resolutions, I'd ask for a motion to read by title only. Resolution 3141. Motion by Alderman Anthony, second by Alderman Heisler. All in favor of reading ordinance number 31, resolution 3141 by title only, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution number 3141, a resolution requesting permission from IDOT to allow bicyclists to cross State Route 158 at Frank Scott Parkway for the Belleville Biathlon on August 4th, 2013. Biathlon.
We have a motion. Do I ask for a motion to approve this? We have a motion. Do I hear a motion? Motion to approve. Second by Alderman White. Motion was by Alderman Heisler to approve resolution 3141 for the biathlon. That could get tricky if we do tonight. Any discussion? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt. Rudgewitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert. White.
Aye.
Galletti. Musgrove. Orland. Schneider.
Aye.
That resolution passes. Ordinances, I ask for a motion to read by title only. Ordinances number 7695, 76... is that number wrong there? 95, 76, 96, 76, 97, 76, 98, 76, 99. Do I hear motion? Motion to read by title only by Alderman Kinsella, second by Alderman White. Discussion? All in favor of reading by title only signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is there objection that you want these read out? Can you read them as a group? What are you saying?
Read them as a group.
Okay, we're going.
Ordinance number 7695, case number 31, May 13th, Jill and Darrell Richardson. B is ordinance number 7696, case number 36, June 13th, Cross Haven Church. C, ordinance number 7697, an ordinance amending chapter 21 of the Liquor Code and chapter 60 of the Zoning Code of the Revised Codes of Ordinances of Belleville, Illinois, as amended by amending portions of sections thereof. D, ordinance number 7698, an ordinance amending chapter 31 Parks and Rec of the Revised Code of Ordinances of Belleville, Illinois, as amended by amending portions of sections thereof. E, ordinance number 7699, an ordinance amending chapter 52 Traffic of the Revised Ordinances of the City of Belleville, Illinois, as amended by amending portions of sections thereof.
Do I hear a motion to approve these ordinances?
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Kinsella, second by Alderman Heisler, to approve the ordinances as just read, 7695 through 7699. Discussion?
What, Your Honor, on item ordinance 7697, item C, what prompted all that?
This is the dog, the one with the animal control?
No, this is.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Liquor.
Liquor.
Or
It was to clarify, it was a few topics brought up a while back in committee, and it was to kind of basically bring the liquor ordinance and the zoning ordinance a little bit more consistent, okay? And we don't deny that there was, you know, some inconsistencies, and when we did the streetscape, as we explained, you know, we've been on each liquor case now having a zoning variance for liquor, and a lot of these things have been spelled out specifically at that time, but we felt the ordinance needed to be tightened up. Okay, so we have a motion to approve those ordinances as just read. If there's no further questions, roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Cybert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orlett. Schneider.
Those ordinances passed. Do we have any unfinished business? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for park staff about where we are with the dog park.
It looks like we're going to get the internet service in this week, and we're looking at a grand opening on August 3rd.
Thank you.
Okay, fresh off the press. I didn't even know that. Miscellaneous and new
I'm
business.
sorry, I have a couple of questions. When we did your appointees at the beginning of the fiscal year, there were a couple of ladies that it was a question, did they belong to the treasurer's office or the clerk's office? Can you tell us how that resolved it?
I think that, well, I think there's still some meetings coming. It's personnel, and we're working on it. We're going to have some meetings coming up, some more to have further discussions between the treasurer, clerk, city attorney, and myself. I think we've got one meeting scheduled, don't we? So, Richard Schneider, right? I just want to set it up. Okay.
Last
So-
question. Recently, it was brought to my attention that we have shut off the water in Everett Park.
It was,
We don't normally leave the water spigots on.
yeah.
They have special keys for them.
Yeah, otherwise you can leave them run, kids will let them on all the time. You know, certain parks where we have people in the parks more, a lot of activities, but the parks that don't have a lot of everyday, where we have staff people in there all the time. You know, Bellevue Park, they have day camp, they have other things. But ever and anon, our staff turns that water on when they're watering. We don't just have that
Staff told me
spigot.
the police ordered them to lock it up.
Well, they might have encouraged it, but I'm not even aware. But we have
normally
not.
don't leave them open. There's a special key, even at Bellevue, but there's a special key. We don't leave them open.
Okay, and do we have no loitering signs at that park?
Yeah, there's no loitering posted. I'm sure of that. We have
It's a park, and you don't want, I'd be kind of confused there. Does it say after sunset?
There's a time posted, I believe. The chief and I have had some recent conversations because there's been concerns expressed by some downtown about some of the, 2 weeks ago on Sunday, I got a call that people were putting tenting up around the pavilion. You know, we're working on some things, and Chief and I and Lieutenant Icecamp have met a couple of times, and we're not done trying to address a few of the concerns of neighbors as to how a few are maybe inappropriately wanting to use the park. So we're working on it, but there is signage there that, I mean, you can't, the park's a park, but it's, what I want to say, Chief, we gotta have some tools, otherwise we have some that will take over. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had, we've been dealing with that. It's almost been overrun. On some days by, some of them I would classify as homeless, some of them are not homeless. They just go to the park and sit and
Panhandling has been very heavy there.
drink, whatever, and those kinds of things.
Drinking.
And so what we've done to address that is, we're just going out, we made some arrests there recently. That's not the answer, but we've done that. And we also now just go up in the park and pavilion if we're sitting there, and we just a uniformed officer. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, they don't like to sit there when we're there. They get up and leave. So we've been doing that. Again, we're you know, you want to address this and keep people's civil rights at the forefront, because you get yourself sued very quickly in those kinds of issues. And so
One of the complaints we received the last several years, there was, and I'll probably botch this up, but there was a class, the Tai Chi or something like that, being held in the park.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it's been there for years. The Parks Department is very much part of it. They have been overrun and actually almost run out of the park because of foul language and abusive behavior. And that's when I got the chief involved, because this is a program that existed for exercise in the park for the last several years. A lot of it initiated by neighbors from Auburn Street, et cetera, who were part of it, and have called now and said, look, we don't even feel safe there. We're being heckled, we're being cussed at, and so that's when I turned it to the chief.
What was the nature of the arrest you complained? Have you arrested for panhandling, for?
Well, it can be disorderly conduct, and they can be cursing, so some disturbing, breaching the peace. If they're cursing just and we can hear it, there's nothing that we can do about it, because you can't disturb our peace, because we're cops. But if the public is standing nearby and they curse and so forth, then we can address that way. We do, and we'll address that kind of thing. We also have our community service officers now on board, and they work part-time, and they do the traffic enforcement. What they do also is they walk the business district, and so they see a lot of things, and the mayor was talking about this. They will see when people are camping out.
And the litter there has been terrible. I've had to send Jason Poole to that park. When Ken and I walk in the mornings, the trash being thrown behind the fence and the way they're treating that park is totally disrespectful. I say they, I'm not sure who they is, but they're starting to watch out to see if we can't put a finger to who's doing the trashing. But that park has never been so dirty as it's been the last year.
We're still on old business.
Yeah.
I have a question. Last city council meeting, you told us to email Chuck Schaefer if we needed sprayed for mosquitoes.
Okay.
Okay. July 1st. Could I please get the area of Douglas and B Street to Lebanon Avenue and B and Douglas to 161 and the side streets in between sprayed for mosquitoes? I thank you for taking time to read this email. That was polite. July 3rd. No problem. We'll get it taken care of. July 8th. When do you think we will be spraying for mosquitoes? People have been asking me. Number 2, there are 2 trees in the alley behind 615 South Douglas. I have been asked if they are city or homeowners. If they are the cities, will the city cut them down? The homeowner was told by Amber and IP that they were dead. Tuesday, July 9th. Regarding the spraying, we haven't used the sprayers for a while and they need to be calibrated. We should have them back in the next day or so and should be able to spray. I'll check the trees on South Douglas and get back to you today. July 10th.
Hold it.
What about the trees on South Douglas and in the alley and spraying? Any update would be helpful. July 11th. The spraying should be a cop.
Alderman Schneider, is there some reason you couldn't have called me and brought this to my attention? Mr. Schaefer was out several days with pneumonia. He's right about the calibration, and he's on vacation, but I'll check on it tomorrow. If you get me all of these emails I'll meet with Mike Parks in the morning and we'll address these things. I mean,
it's, and then July 11th, Chuck Schaefer, this was last week.
But I agree, we will deal with it, I just wish you'd bring it to my attention. He was out sick and now he's on vacation. Chuck, as you know, is not notorious for not responding. That is not the Chuck Schaefer we know. So I will follow up, give me your emails, give me your list, and I will meet with Mike Parks tomorrow. Anything else? The only thing I want to make as a reminder under new business is, Jamie asked me to remind you that we talked about it, but just to make sure, there's a special finance meeting on July 29th at 7 p.m. I really hope all of you come, not just the finance committee. And during that finance meeting, there's going to be a public hearing during that set time, okay, about the sales tax extension, or however we want to look at it, whether you continue it but it's going to be about the 0.25% sales tax. I want to make sure you heard that. On Monday, July 29th, which is the 5th Monday of the month, 7 p.m. in the council chambers, there's going to be a special finance committee meeting, but during that finance committee meeting is going to be a public hearing about the 0.25% sales tax that we have to take action on, in my opinion, in August, so that we're not late getting our decision, depending on how it goes, to the state in a timely fashion. I'd ask for a vote to approve the motor fuel claim, like it's the smallest one I've ever seen. $1,187.60. Motion by Alderman Seibert, second by Alderman Heisler. Discussion. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Rudowitz. Randall. Anthony. Davidson. Hayden. Seibert. White. Galletti. Musgrove. Orland. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd ask for a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of updating on litigation. I don't think there's any property acquisition tonight, but also about it is property acquisition. Yes, it is, and also negotiations. Do I hear the motion? Motion. Second. Motion Kinsella, second by Galletti. All in favor of going into executive sessions for those stated reasons signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Guys, you taking another break on me? Is that it?
No.
Quick one? Or you're turning that off? Okay. Okay, we're back in regular session. I would ask for a motion to approve settlement of a workman's comp claim with a member of the police department for $17,394.50. Motion by Amy, second by Kinsella. Discussion. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Randall. Anthony. Davidson. Hayden. Seibert. White. Galletti. Musgrove. Orland. Schneider.
Aye. Longest meeting of.
Motion approved. All in favor of adjournment? Aye for. Who was the second? White. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Time to go home.
That's somebody approved.
August 1 is. It is. Sure it is.